Midterms are around the corner. Democrats are favored to take control of the House. Here you're looking at Kalshi odds. Republicans have 15% probability of keeping the House. Democrats have an 85% probability of taking the House in November. The Senate is also in play, though the probabilities are much closer. What could a shift in Washington mean for corporate America and your money? Midterms.
So there you have a CNBC clip talking about the midterms and what that might mean. When you look at the numbers that they offer here, you've got a Republican percentage of 15%. This is according to Kalshi, to keep the House. It's historically not likely that the party in power, especially when the president is of the same party in power, will retain that type of majority. So you wouldn't expect especially with it being so stinking close right now, that majority that the Republicans do have just takes one. That's the magic of the House of Representatives. It takes one seat majority, and you have a whole lot of power that comes with that. The Senate, of course, being a different animal. 2 representatives from each state serving in the Senate, a lot more difficult when you have a statewide election as opposed to a district carve out of 750,000, 775,000 people, of which a lot of those don't even vote. So you got Kalshi here saying there's a 70 or an 85% chance that the Democrats would, in fact, take the leadership in the House of Representatives after the midterms. We're asking you that on the Annie Frey YouTube live chat poll today. How's the Republican Party going to fare in the midterm elections? You got a lot of options there. It's a garbled mess to say it on the air when you go to the poll and vote. You're going to tell us if you think the Republicans are going to do well, if they're not going to do well, and how you think that's going to manifest itself. I don't know that the polling that is out there right now, I don't feel like it's reliable polling. I think the Kalshi odds and betting odds are often times that people are willing to put their money behind it. But those are obviously going to be affected by the discussion that's taking place in the public square. So how is it going to go? We are not that far away. It'll be here. It'll be gone. I think the Senate makeup, if you were the Democrat Party going into this current midterm, it wasn't really looking great for you to take the Senate over with a 53 seat, I think. Is that right? 53 seats for the Republicans. I mean, you got to take 4 seats in order to change the majority. 50-50, the Democrats did it after Joe Biden won. And, of course, Kamala Harris is responsible for the Inflation Increase Act that she was the deciding vote on. The tie vote is the vice president. The Senate was not very takeable, just on virtue looking out ahead like, oh, that looks like it's going to be a favorable map for Republicans, or not too scary of one. And then, President Trump gets reelected, and so you think that's got to be a factor. That's a motivating factor for people to show up to vote for Trump and who he wants, but it's a motivating factor to get people to show up to vote against him, for sure. It is the main pillar of the Democrat Party platform, is to combat Trump. So that this midterm is kind of the last election that Democrats get to show up and vote by, giving the finger to Donald Trump and the MAGA movement. How will it go? Michigan? Wow. Michigan, that race is crazy. Over and over and over again, we're seeing Democrat people who, I don't know if some of them are coming out and saying they're voting for the Republican candidate, Mike Rogers. That's a blue seat right now. That Senate seat in Michigan is a Democrat seat. So if you've got El Sayed, who's crazy. This is we talked yesterday about, was it Graham Plattner being an AI candidate? It's like on the surface, at first blush, you're like, oh, we didn't have to put a lot of work into that. It looks good. And then you just start peeking around the corner. You're like, this is terrible.
He's got 7 fingers.
Yeah, exactly. And nipple tattoos.
And 4 of them.
Oh, yeah.
He's feeding pigs.
AI was like, just how about one more? Just a little closer to the nipple. That'll be good. It's there, but it's kind of a secret, but it'll be a real story getter when it's revealed. Idiots. I think that I think Maine is so ridiculously polled. I don't think that Susan Collins is ever in nearly as much trouble as they suggest that she is. If you look at not Michigan polls, But Michigan results over the last cycles, it has been creeping towards purple state toss-up since the 90s, I think. I think it was the early 90s. One of the Senate races there was like plus 30 for the Democrats. Wildly popular Democrat Senate seat. And it just incrementally got a little bit less and a little bit less and a little bit less. And I wonder if they've crept to the left, or if, this time around they're just like, how about a socialist, kind of communist, somebody who hates America, and asked Jesse Waters last night in an interview on Jesse Waters' show on primetime if he was circumcised. He asked that question of Jesse Waters to say that circumcision is the same conversation as transing children. These are not serious people. These people do not want the same thing that you and I want. If you're on the left and you're listening to the show, my bet is you think that's crazy too. The number of people who are listening to El Sayed on Jesse Waters saying, like, come on, can't we agree here that transing children, to use their words, cutting off the dingling of a child, can't we understand that that's wrong? When El Sayed looks offended, like Jesse Waters just said, you know that the sun rises in the west, right? He was like, El Sayed was like, you got to be kidding me, man. Are you circumcised? This is where these people will go. They make the conversation so egregiously dumb that a lot of people don't want to participate in it. You just think it's dumb and you move about your day. But these people are very close to an enormous amount of power, and we have to be paying attention. We have to be calling it out and saying, this is what this person represents. And if you're looking in Michigan, if you're a Michigan voter, or if you know one, you got to be asking these people, is this what you're for? You really want this in the United States Senate, one of 100? Representing you, one of 2 in Michigan, to go to the Senate? I don't think you do. Gone are the days of Joe Manchin and John Fetterman for Democrat candidates in this party. I don't see them. But maybe that's what they want. If Hillary Clinton and her apparatus wouldn't have had her way, she might not have been the nominee in 2016. But they've been putting their finger on the scale probably way more significantly than we've ever really actually known and realized, trying to keep this movement out of the mainstream. They did that to elect Hillary. Then when it was time to nominate Joe Biden, there was that weird thing where we all saw Joe Biden was getting no support. Kamala Harris drops out before a single voice was heard. How do you say that in a caucus? Yeah. You just represented. You move to a side of the room, and it's just super bizarre.
Yeah.
Then I don't know. It's bizarre, but it might be cool. I think it's kind of cool.
Well, I think it'd be fun to do.
Yeah.
But it's just a weird system.
She didn't participate in any of the primary process. Starting with the Iowa caucus, she dropped out before then, and then all of a sudden, everything starts to coalesce around the man who's not getting any support, Joe Biden, who also is part of a discussion, in a central part of a discussion, in an impeachment hearing that's taking place in the House of Representatives to impeach Donald Trump. Why? Because there was a phone call between President Zelensky and President Trump, and President Trump was asking Zelensky's country for cooperation in investigations that were taking place in Ukraine, while Ukraine is saying, give us arms. We need weapons. And Trump said, I'll give them to you, but here's what I want from you. Never withheld arms, never said, no, you're not going to get the missiles or whatever it was. Provided Ukraine with the defense tactics that they were asking for. And Trump was saying, you need to cooperate with this investigation we're doing. And it turned out that it was the inappropriate relationship that Joe Biden's family had in Ukraine, serving on Burisma energy boards, of which Hunter, right?
His son?
Yeah, Hunter.
Yeah.
I don't know why that didn't resonate. I was like, it's Hunter, but is it? He's been in the news lately, too. He annoys me so much because he's trying to be so accessible. Not like available. It's different to be available and accessible. He's trying to be there. He wears a Canadian tuxedo. He'll show up and it'll be like in all jeans, top to bottom. And I'm like, man, no.
He's just one of us, Annie.
Do you see me wearing all jeans? I might try it now because of Hunter. Probably not. He's on this. Here you got Mr. All Jeans on the board of Burisma, which is Ukraine energy company, just happens to be the son of the vice president at the time. There are inappropriate, super corrupt things taking place in Ukraine, and the United States is like, we should look into it. These are the same people who manifest charges against Donald Trump for mortgage papers or something that he never actually touched. Some sort, like, again, if Donald Trump was told, I will give you $1 bazillion if you can commit the crime that you got charged for, like, redo it, I don't think he would know how to do it.
It's really hard to pull off that crime because there wasn't a victim and they couldn't find a victim and the banks were fine with the transaction.
You want to, let's check the chat today. I don't even have the YouTube chat up in front of me. We'll have it with just a quick click here in just a minute. Anybody talking about Jared Kushner's business dealings, Ivanka's dealings right now? Because those are concerns for people. I'm not saying they're not valid. I don't know enough about them specifically, but you can't be worried about those and not even be interested in an actual investigation being taken on Hunter Biden in Ukraine. All of this stuff is happening. That is part of the conversation that took place between Ukraine and the United States, between Zelensky and Trump on the, you'll remember it, perfect phone call. Joe Biden is running for president. The Democrats said we need to impeach Donald Trump because he was doing this. He was engaging in these conversations so that he could hurt a political opponent. Joe Biden was not the primary nominee at that point, but he did become it. And everybody who was vying for this, who had more support at the time than Joe Biden did, dropped out and said, we get behind him. The Democrat Party picks and chooses and not just bulldozes Republicans or conservative ideas and their ability to articulate them, where they don't let you speak and they thought police the whole time. They bulldoze their own party. And it looks like the only way the air quotes normies in the Democrat Party have been able to cut through and get to the point where they got to be the nominee is if the Democrat Party held the socialists at bay, because the socialist has been metastasizing in that party for over a decade now. Probably, 2 decades at this point. Starts with Barack Obama, and here we are now. There's a lot at stake in this midterm election, and I'm not saying just, the president is going to be the president. They might impeach him. They're not going to remove him in the Senate. That's not going to happen. But there's a lot at stake for the definition of the direction that each of these parties, the character each of these parties will have going into the next presidential election. Who do these parties want to be? We're going to find out this election, and we're also going to find out if America has an appetite for it. Go to the Annie Frey YouTube channel and vote. How will the GOP fare in midterm elections? Lots of options there for you to choose from. You can text us your thoughts as well at 314-241-9797. And we'll compile those votes throughout the show, give you the results at about 2:55 here on the Annie Frey Show. Julie Hartman, Senior Advisor at the U.S. Department of Education, next. Ann's Bra Shop is hiring. This is very exciting. If you're somebody who has been looking for a gig, maybe part-time, maybe full-time, if you want to see the different positions, because they're hiring at multiple locations, different positions, 314-878-4144. 314-878-4144. You can apply in person every day but today, not on Tuesdays. And they do incredible work at Ann's Bra Shop. Of course, they've got bras for everybody. You walk in there and you need a bra, they're going to be able to fit you for a bra. But they also work with people who are recovering from breast cancer, who have maybe had a mastectomy and maybe need a prosthetic and maybe have to use insurance. These are all really, really important things that need to be done for women so they can be upheld through this entire process. It's an emotional one. And when you go into Ann's Bra Shop, you're 100% going to see. This is why generations have gone to Ann's Bra Shop in Missouri and Illinois alike. You can call them at 314-878-4144. That's 314-878-4144 and inquire about a job that might be near you. I know you'll be glad you did. All the details online at brashop.com.
Every public school in America is now on notice that if they tell a child that they're trapped in the wrong body, they are committing child abuse. And as we remove the far-left extremism from the classroom, we're taking historic action to ensure that every child in America has access to a first-class education.
President Trump yesterday outside the White House, I love that you can hear the construction in the background. Also, that's incredible. Talking about the efforts as we get back to school here in late August, that this administration is focusing on seeing all the way through when it comes to improving the education opportunities for families, for kids here in the United States of America. Our guest, Julie Hartman, joins us now, senior advisor at the U.S. Department of Education on X at Julie R. Hartman. Thank you, Julie, for being with us today. It's great to have you.
Annie, thanks so much for having me on.
Okay, so I've got 4 kids myself, and I'm married to a public school teacher. So I have a lot of interest in where this administration is taking the fruits of their labor coming into education and improving it for families. I want to first talk about the education, what passed in the big, beautiful bill, the access to school choice, the $1,700 for scholarships. How is that program going this far into it?
Oh, I mean, it's amazing. As you just said, the president established this program in the Working Families Tax Cuts Act, and it represents the largest national expansion of education freedom in history. Because, you know, President Trump and Secretary McMahon both believe that the best education is that closest to the child. And I'm sure you as a parent know this all too well. Who knows the needs and the talents and the strengths of your child better than you do?
Right.
And so really what this tax credit does is that it allows parents to choose the best education interventions for their child's needs. And here's the really cool part of it, Annie. This could mean sending your child to a private school, but this could also mean obtaining extra support for your child in their existing public school. Support like a tutoring program or an after-school program, or for a student with a disability getting some kind of extra services and support within their school. It's really a no-brainer, and it's really also a game changer in putting power back in the hands of those parents. And that's why, Annie, 30 states, both red and blue, have already raced into this program. In Missouri, your state has opted in, and come 2027, this is really going to expand a ton of opportunities for parents. And, I want to just remind your listeners that we have a huge education crisis in this country. Only 3 in 10 of our nation's students are proficient in reading and math.
Ugh.
I mean, this is an abomination. And if we do not turn this around by cutting the bureaucracy and the ideology out of education and restoring authority to those closest to the child, we got to do that in order to keep up our national strength. So this education freedom expansion is a huge step towards revitalizing our outcomes.
Julie Hartman speaking with us, senior advisor at the United States Department of Education. Not to put too fine a point on that, Julie, though. So I live right across the river in Illinois. Whole different ball of wax in Illinois compared to the common sense state of Missouri that I'm currently sitting in.
Oh, wow.
Now, let's just say in the state of Illinois, just to be crystal clear on this, because J.B. Pritzker has not yet permitted students and families in the state of Illinois to access the dollars that those same families can donate and get that $1,700 tax credit for federal tax credit. That money would then go to Missouri kids and kids all around Illinois. But if you're an Illinois student, you go to a public school, you're dyslexic, and you'd really love to get tutoring to help you learn better, there's tutoring out there that exists for that public school student who has dyslexia. Can they use these funds to help them learn better, get the tutoring they need? Do they have to be in a private school in order to get access to these dollars?
Well, here's the thing. When you're talking about Illinois, as you said, specifically for the Education Freedom Tax Credit, the governor has got to opt in. And that's why Secretary McMahon has been traveling across the country, talking about that particular program, which, again, is just a no-brainer because it helps children whether they attend private school or public school. But also, I do want to make a point here that, Secretary McMahon has been really intentional about directing federal dollars, in all 50 states towards the kinds of programs that really do elevate student outcomes and help our most vulnerable students. Under the previous administration, there were billions of dollars federal education dollars that were going towards these radical and discriminatory DEI programs, which have no measurable connection to student outcomes and success and often hurt student outcomes and success. And Secretary McMahon has redirected those dollars. They're going into evidence-based literacy programs, to give a really big example, also talking about critical funding for individuals with disabilities who you had mentioned. The fiscal year 2027 budget request actually includes a historic increase of more than $500 million over the previous year's appropriation to serve students with disabilities. So, a huge part of this hard reset to our education system at the direction of Secretary McMahon has been ensuring that students do have these resources and that education dollars are going back to the basics to really help these students obtain the kind of support they need for their needs.
I see a lot from the IEA, the Illinois version of the NEA. It's a teachers union. They are very against this. They're lobbying the governor hard not to get involved with it. Do public students have access to these dollars too, if the governor allows them to have access to it?
So again, the state needs to opt in order for the families in that state to enjoy the benefits of the Education Freedom Tax Credit. But, as you said earlier, if families in Illinois still want to give to scholarship granting organizations, those dollars can certainly benefit students in the other state for the Education Freedom Tax Credit, but we want students in Illinois to also benefit from the Education Freedom Tax Credit.
Right.
But again, just to really emphasize this point, of course, all 50 governors should opt in to this common sense program. But just more generally, across the board, in all 50 states, Secretary McMahon is really focusing on putting federal dollars, and we're talking billions of dollars, back into the basics, and that will really, really help students across the country. And she's also awarded record funding to charter schools, already $500 million. And the Department of Education is on track to hit $1 billion by year's end. So these are really, really important and good advances for our students.
Julie Hartman speaking with us, the senior advisor at the United States Department of Education. Another focus of this Department of Education is to combat the indoctrination that is taking place. They're very, very combative about Christianity creeping its way into school, but there certainly is a religion being invoked in the classroom, one after the other, and it's kind of a woke political religion of sorts. How is the administration pushing back against this?
Well, Annie, at the top of the segment, you played that clip that the president said yesterday about this really horrible theme in our schools under the previous administration, where school personnel were allowed to secretly transition children to be the opposite gender and hide that information from parents. There was actually an example, a mother in Maryland only discovered that the school was helping her daughter to become a boy when a teacher accidentally referred to her daughter by male pronouns in an email. And not only is this patently immoral, it's also illegal. There are federal parental rights laws that under the previous administration went unenforced, but under this administration, President Trump and Secretary McMahon are vigorously enforcing these protections. And Secretary McMahon has partnered with the Department of Justice to make sure that these federal protections are upheld, because every parent has the right, the legal and the moral right, to know what is going on inside of school walls when it comes to their children. And Secretary McMahon has put these schools on notice that if they sideline parents and subject children to radical experiments, they may lose their federal funding. So really, this just could not be a bigger change, this school year. Common sense is back, and parents are back in charge, and this administration is fighting on every front to protect parental rights and the innocence of children.
Yeah, we're still making kids get permission to take Tylenol at school for
Exactly.
cramps and headaches, but we're like, sure, we'll change your gender for you. It's unbelievable. Common sense at the Department of Education. We are grateful for it here on the Annie Frey Show, and for your time as well, Julie. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
We'll talk to you again. Bye-bye. Julie Hartman is a senior advisor at the Department of Education, and talking some serious common sense there, I think, on the direction with which education really needs to be not in the hands of bureaucrats or teachers unions, but in the hands of families who know what's best for their child, and to empower them to make decisions to further what's best for their children without the hindrance of some sort of bureaucratic obstacle that gets thrown in front of them that hinders the quality of education. It's very hard, Ryan, to argue like, no, we shouldn't touch the system when 3 out of 10 kids can read.
Yeah, that's another like angle to this story that doesn't get talked about enough. People who are trying to preserve the way the education system is right now don't really talk about how bad education has gotten. And that resonates with everybody, because if you have kids in school or you have grandkids in school, you know the education system is different now than it used to be.
Yeah.
And it's really kind of, the standards are lowered for everybody.
I always fear, just based on experience and learning and kind of soaking in what I can, a lot of those lowered standards are to make teachers look more accomplished on a document. But then these kids get out in the world and they don't know what they need to know. Where's that accountability coming from? Certainly not the teachers union. Teachers unions are not there to advocate for the kids at all. That's not their purpose. And really, nor should it be. But you shouldn't be advocating for teachers at the expense of students, at the expense of their education. And that is where the political organization of teachers unions in this country has gotten us. And it needs to be completely redirected. The YouTube poll for today, let us know how you think the Republicans are going to fare in the midterm elections. We'll be back in just a minute. HomeshieldFoundationRepairs.com, 314-271-9900. That's 314-271-9900. Matt Hayes, the owner, operator of Home Shield Foundation Repair, along with his family, out of St. Louis here, local company. They're experts at basement waterproofing, among other foundation repair needs that you might have. If you go to HomeshieldFoundationRepairs.com, you can peruse pictures of projects that they've done. You can experience the different services that they offer. So if you have a foundation issue or concern, I would encourage you to call 314-271-9900. Talk to Matt Hayes and his team about how they can help you at Home Shield Foundation Repair. But also look at the different reviews. Look at the experiences other customers and clients and Annie Frey Show listeners have had with Home Shield Foundation Repair, and the proof is in the pudding, as they say. Home Shield Foundation Repair, you can call them at 314-271-9900. If you're looking to get your basement waterproofed, ask about 0% financing for 24 months. That makes that project that you thought maybe was impossible a lot more affordable, and you get your foundation of your home back. How incredible is that? Online at HomeshieldFoundationRepairs.com.
How will the GOP fare in the midterm elections? That is the YouTube live chat poll today. And this is kind of an ongoing question that we have, of course, as we approach the midterms in November. Maybe this will change, but we want to know what you think right now is going to happen. It is 12:35. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It really does feel like you can't do anything without that everything's got like a red or a blue option. I used to feel that way about Coke and Pepsi, but I don't really know anymore. I feel like some of these big brands, remember when it was every single thing you did was a choice? You'd get
politically?
you'd get like Coke has been doing the like I'd like to give the world a Coke thing. That used to just be like, yeah, that sounds like a nice idea.
Cute.
Now it's like, you woke sons of guns.
I was gonna say,
which is not. That's ridiculous. That's the lens. That's the not rose-colored glasses, the woke color glasses that people were so in tune to all the areas where people are trying to slip that in and virtue signal to be like, hey, we're the soda that doesn't hate people. And you're like, well, I guess I have to drink that. No, you don't. You can drink whatever you like.
Well, it's funny that you say that because when you say red and blue option, Coke and Pepsi, Coke is red, Pepsi is blue. But I think politically, they're kind of inverse. Although I don't put Pepsi in a Republican category. I just know that Coke has made headlines in the last several years for being semi-woke.
I feel like Pepsi has always kind of tried to be a little edgier and a little more rebellious. In a like, we're not doing that. But I don't know.
I don't
it's
know
all
about
subjective.
them.
If I think that it started out with people on the left looking for people who were like willing to stand up and take a stand and say tolerance was maybe the first kind of go at it, and then it turned into acceptance, and then you had to have pride about everything. And if you weren't that, you had to be known as an ally.
Right. You got to speak up.
Yes.
You can't just be there.
And if you speak up, guess what? You have to speak up again and again and again. And in fact, it's the only thing you're allowed to say out loud.
Yes.
But we're far from that now. I think there is such fatigue for that kind of exhausting patronage where everything you do, you're like, what am I supporting here? I'm trying to buy siding for my home. Is this siding Republican? What is that? That's not a thing.
Is my mobile company Republican or not?
But we've made Republicans are as much to blame. They started it. The Democrats started it. The liberal, wokey, progressives started it. But then I think Republicans and conservatives have been so agitated by it. It's like a scab that won't go away, and it just gets getting picked at over and over and over again. It's like, fine, I'm going to bleed all over the place.
I'm just not going to heal.
Buc-ees is stepping into the conversation here. And you a Buc-ees fan?
I've never been to one. I've only been to the other one. What's the name of it?
Wally's.
Wally's.
Love a Wally's.
Yeah.
Buc-ees I'm a Wally's girl. I actually wore this morning my red crew neck sweatshirt, and it just says Midwest on it. And I bought it from Wally's in Peoria-ish, whichever one, and I think it's exit 192. We count down the miles.
Is that on the way to Chicago?
But maybe
I know which one you're talking about. It's not nearly as big as ours.
Our northern trips for sports has always been Peoria and like Chicago, Arlington Heights area, and it's like on the way to one but not the other. Anyway.
Well, the one on the way to Chicago is like half the size of our Wally's. I'm very proud of that.
The one in Fenton?
The one in Fenton is way bigger, yeah.
Do you know that for a fact?
Yeah, every time I pass it, I'm like laughing at it and pointing at it.
Oh, I don't think that's true.
The one outside of Chicago or the Peoria?
Peoria.
So I'm talking about Chicago.
Okay, I don't know that one.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe we're both right. Listen to this. This is the Buc-ees. This is tweeted by Sarah Huckabee Sanders. I guess the owner of Buc-ees, and they're talking about where they're going to put stores and where they're not.
We have a lot of opportunities. We're growing. We're building in a lot of places. But when you find a conservative, business-friendly state with a phenomenal workforce, it makes a difference. And I'm starting to realize life's too short to try to build in places that people don't appreciate what you're bringing, versus a place like this where people do appreciate what you're building. So that leadership, that concept, that idea of conservative, business-friendly, family-oriented concept works so much better if it trickles down from the very leadership, from the very top at the governor's office, at the congressman, at the senator, at the mayor, the representatives. And so what we found when we got here into Benton was a business-friendly town. They said, let's roll up our sleeves and let's go get a Buc-ees built.
So the owner there, that's by Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders' video. So I'm pretty sure she picked the what I would refer to as a Disney Q background. I think it makes me want to like walk through life and feel like I've seen things and I'm better for it.
Play as inspiring.
But he talked about conservative, business-friendly values, and then he talked about family-oriented, hardworking type of. I don't feel is that political? I mean, I know he's saying conservative, but the things that he's attributing to essentially Republicans there. I mean, I'll claim it for our side, but it's not just a red-blue thing. The parties, however, the mouthpieces of the parties, that's not the type of all Democrats want to do from their mouthpieces is talk about who the victims are. And ironically, a lot of times the people who they're trying to identify and recharacterize as victims are actually perpetrators. And the victimhood is often a cover for whatever they're perpetrating, often on the taxpayer.
He says something else in there, too, that I thought was really insightful and made perfect sense with what he's talking about, which is opening new businesses. He said in Republican states or conservative states, they really welcome you and are glad to have you and acknowledge that, and I'm, expanding on this a little bit, but acknowledge that it took a lot to get to where you're at, to where you're going to invest all this money into our town or our state. What he implied there was that Democrat states don't do that. And that makes sense because Democrats tend to view all corporations as evil. And if somebody's going to come in and invest a lot of money in your town, they're like, that must be bad because it's got somebody rich behind it.
They're like saying Benton, Arkansas. It's like a business-friendly town. I think that's where Walmart is.
Yeah, it's like their headquarters.
Yeah. You talk about business, like globally business-friendly. Are there Walmarts outside of the United States?
Good question. I don't know.
There's one in every city of the United States. Do they even need to expand?
And in between every city.
Yeah. I just, when I'm looking at like at red and blue stuff, I am going to partially call out some Republican conservative person tendencies. Now, listen, you spend your money wherever you want. That's your prerogative. And if you want to spend the time and the energy to figure out what is the most Republican beer, I think there's a beer that's being sold just by a Republican. I think it's
Real American.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. That was the one with Hulk Hogan.
That's my favorite beer, and I would like to endorse them. Also, I don't like beer. But I am a Republican. That could be a whole ad campaign. I hate this beer, but if I were going to buy one, it would be this one. I mean, I'm annoyed by the lefty activism in consumerism. Like this is a virtue purchase to show the world that I wear this or I use that. And I don't. It drives me crazy when I see Republicans buy things that are clearly just being sold because of the politics. Like I'm like it feels to me like you're being used and manipulated. I think the left has done it on a much broader level. Nike, I've had this story in my stack for a while, but Nike's stock is destroyed right now. Yeah, it is. And people are attributing it to their decision to go super, super woke. The Colin Kaepernick stuff and, I don't know. I read the article, and it annoyed me when I read the article because I was like, is this really why? Are there any other factors that have contributed to Nike's stock plummeting? But I know, and I have put off buying Nike things a while back because of the crap that they were putting out, like kind of anti-police and just like I'm not there for that. I don't know if they're still doing that. Target is a great example to me. I don't know if everybody else is persuaded about this. Target is a great example of a company that was super outwardly woke. I don't think any of these companies really are like that. I think they think the consumer wants it. I don't think that they're like, we really need to change the thinking capacity of the American consumer. I think they think, oh, they'll buy that. And then they do that said thing. And then Americans oftentimes, especially when it's super pressed upon in the woke world, they're like, we're not going to buy that. It's not going to happen. Disney World's a perfect example. June was Pride Month. It was also America 250. they could not keep America 250 on the shelves. They pulled back significantly on the Pride merch. It was still there, still accessible. You could still buy it, but it didn't take over the whole place. And in the little groups that I'm in, there are people complaining about certain things because that's what complainers do. They show up and they're vocal. And comment after comment after comment is when you go to the outlet stores, the Disney merch outlet stores afterwards, it's all Pride merch. Like, people don't buy it, and they can't keep the America 250 stuff on the shelf. So which direction did they go? Where the people were buying.
My only pushback on the idea of the sort of conservative first company that's like leading with their marketing being
My Pillow.
We're Patriot Water, like,
Yeah.
like that. Those are funny sometimes, but is that if it's a brand that you have found that you buy regularly, it's something like beef jerky or something, you are regularly consuming beef jerky, but you found out that 3 of your favorite brands are all woke.
Yeah, and using their money for activism.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you're like, well, I tried to switch, but then that company is too. I tried to switch, that company is too. And then somebody comes along and finds a market niche and goes, hey, by the way, we are Red State Jerky.
Yeah.
And you go, okay, great. I'm just looking for something that I don't even care that it's conservative.
I
just don't want them to use my money wrong.
The caveat there to me is the jerky still has to be good.
Absolutely.
That's really
yes.
that to put a clarifying point on it. Again, first and foremost, spend your money wherever you want to spend your money. That's my whole point, is nobody should be out here telling you where to spend your money. But don't get sucked up in somebody who's like, oh, the Republicans will eat this up.
Right.
And
right.
the jerky sucks.
And and somebody political ads are like that a lot of times. You'll hear it. We just heard them in the primaries. They'll hire some actor to come in and go, well, Missouri, and you're like, that's not. You don't know that you're from New Hampshire. Like, you've been coached.
They're hard Russ in New Hampshire, Missouri. Oh man, yeah. I don't know. I'm probably gonna get flagged for that. I don't care. Wiggins America. What's next?
This is things you should never put on auto pay.
All right, coming up next on the Annie Frey Show. Stewart's American Mortgage and the Bagel Loan, such a simple thing that you can do to improve your financial situation. When you call or text 314-324-4440, Stewie has the Bagel Loan, and a Bagel Loan is a mortgage, new or refi, that you get that comes with $0 in closing costs to get to the new mortgage. So a lot of times that thousands of dollars of closing costs that you have to pay in order to get to the other side of whatever new mortgage situation you're trying to get in, those closing costs are punitive, and you end up not doing it because it's like, why would I spend thousands of dollars for this? You don't have to do that. He covers it for you. So there are $0 in closing costs when you use the Bagel Loan at Stewart's American Mortgage. Now, for you new home purchasers, if you're getting a 30-year loan, how about the first year of that 30-year loan? A 1% discount on your interest rate. Stewie is excited to be able to offer you this very special opportunity in partnership with the Bagel Loan, so you can get no closing costs as well. I've used the Bagel Loan twice myself for a refinance. You can trust Stewie. I do, and I'd go to him again and again. 314-324-4440, 314-324-4440. Reach out to Stewie and tell him Annie sent you. Google the Bagel Loan, NMLS number 226715.
Wiggins.
Wiggins. Science.
You set me up. You lied again, Brad. God dang it.
It's not really
Brad
a science
is,
Wiggins
Brad
America.
is sabotaging me live on the radio. He's like, push that button, Annie. That's the right one.
I'm not even looking at the screen.
Well, then tell me what you told
I
me.
said it was on the other one.
I did. I pushed the other one. This one, it says Wiggins. It's the one you told me. It's over here. And it says...
Wiggins. Science.
What even is that? What?
That's the Science Open for Wiggins America if I ever do a science topic.
Just in case?
Yeah.
Have you ever done one?
It's been a while, but I do it every now and then. What song was that? Was that Power Man 5000?
No.
Playing? Was that White Zombie?
You know what it wasn't?
She blinded me
The
with
right
science.
button.
No, not that song. The song we came in with.
Oh.
Free Willy. Hold me.
Power Man 5000.
I thought that might be
Will
him.
you be there?
Mhm.
Oh, it's on here. Will you be there?
Will you be there?
I could have
That's
not.
the name of the song?
I didn't look at the top of the ceiling to find that. I could have looked at the stack.
By Pantera? Okay.
When I find the right open, I'm going to push it. Something.
Yeah, okay. Enjoy finding the right open, and we'll get into the segment here.
Wiggins, which one is this? I don't even.
Wiggins. Science.
This is
It's the
one.
same
Why
thing.
is it
What are
on
you doing?
multiple buttons?
What is happening? Do you want me to do science? I mean, here, I'll just bring up a science story instead. Scientists have just found a way. This is how it prepared.
This is no way.
Oh, yeah. Scientists have just found a way to regrow your tooth enamel, and it could be available by next year. That's as far as I've gotten in the article, though.
That's probably helpful.
Isn't that cool?
Wiggins. Wiggins. Science.
It's over here too. What is the matter with this thing? This is the same.
That's the only science story I have, so I don't. If the more you play it, the less well this is going to go.
Oh, it's as bad as it can be.
All right, fine. I'll
It's
just click
an
on the
absolute
article.
disaster. It can't get worse than this.
All right.
We're cooked.
The hardest substance
Do you want
in
me
the
to
human
sing it
body,
for you?
the tooth enamel, has a major
No.
weakness.
Do the story.
It
do
can't
that.
regrow.
Do the article.
Science
do
is
the
working to
topic
fix
you
that.
teased.
Have you ever wondered why you only get one set of new teeth in your life?
I'm not into teeth. Can you do the? I need to know when to not put on auto pay. I'm just gonna start clicking buttons over here and see what happens.
First one is cable and streaming services. Don't pay with those by auto pay. It says
Really?
that it says that they count on, especially streaming services, they count on you forgetting that you're paying for it.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you use auto pay, which is what they want, those small price increases that they use and stuff like that, you don't even notice that they're happening.
That's possible.
Wiggins!
Wiggins.
Oh, that's great.
Huh.
So in the future, researchers hope that the gel, which will replicate tooth enamel,
Are you really doing the story?
will actively rebuild that enamel to a healthy state.
You've given people what they need to know to care completely.
The next thing that you should never put on auto pay is gym memberships. Once again, it's a lot of these are going to have the same theme, where you're forgetting that you're paying for it once you stopped using it. And so many people will start a gym membership intending to use it regularly, and then they stop entirely. I've never done that.
Used a gym membership?
Mm-hmm. The next one is insurance premiums. And this one
What?
is huge. And you know why?
I do know why, because it goes up like crazy, and then you're out $1,000 in February.
Okay, yes.
Not
That's
that's personal or anything.
yeah, it's okay. That was real specific to February.
Mm-hmm.
But
That's when we
insurance
got
premiums, they
the
do
insurance
offer
covered.
you an introductory rate, almost exclusively. And a lot of times they won't even say that it's an introductory rate. They'll just say this is the rate. And then once you get into it,
You're
a
cut.
year or two, if you don't notice and pay attention to it closely, they will jack that up like crazy. And it's not one company that does it. It is almost every single company. And I've talked to insurance brokers who say, yeah, that's the model. They all do it. So don't put it on auto pay, and you'll notice when it goes up. Although it does require a lot more paying attention.
Yeah, we had an auto draft out of our checking account in February for over $1,000. We thought it was going to be like $300 or $400
Mm-hmm.
of our checking account.
I remember you being pretty upset about that.
Yeah.
The last one is utility bills. AutoPay hides usage patterns. So you forget if you're using it a lot or you're not. When it goes up a lot, like in the state of Illinois, you won't be incensed and write your congressman. You'll just pay it.
Yeah, I guess so. All right,
There it
Michael
is.
Jackson,
White
take us
Zombie.
home. James Carafano, next on the Annie Frey Show.
This is a Fox News alert. Dolly Parton has died. I'm Lisa Brady. A family statement just posted on social media confirming the loss of an American icon.
Dolly Parton was a singer, songwriter, actor, businesswoman, and philanthropist. Born the fourth of 12 children in 1946 in Locust Ridge, Tennessee, Parton was a pioneer for women in country music. Her biggest hits include 9 to 5, Jolene, Here You Come Again, and I Will Always Love You. She was inducted into the Country Music and Rock and Roll Halls of Fame, won multiple Grammys, was awarded the National Medal of Arts, and received the Recording Academy's Lifetime Achievement Award. Her Imagination Library has distributed more than 280 million free books to kids worldwide, and her theme park, Dollywood, has entertained millions since it opened in 1986. Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
Dolly Parton was 80 and had suffered health issues recently. Her family says she died peacefully. Again, Dolly Parton dead at 80. Retaliation and outreach. Canada slapping new tariffs on American goods in response to higher U.S. tariffs that kicked in after trade talks broke down. Ontario Premier Doug Ford telling Fox Business the dispute will lead to layoffs of auto workers. However, he's also saying that he feels the best path would be to reach a deal. Now, the new Canada tariffs on U.S. goods include steel, cheese, and seafood. Canada is acknowledging, though, this will cause pain there as well, offering a support package to impacted workers and businesses. President Trump argues Canada has been treating some U.S. products unfairly for years and has threatened another tariff increase in January. America is listening to Fox News.
In a recent survey of 123,000 wireless customers, Pure Talk was the only wireless company to receive 5 stars in every category: coverage, support, value, and data. What else do you need to know? Switch to Pure Talk today and get any plan, including their top shelf unlimited data plan, for just $15 a month for your first 3 months. No contract, no commitment. Dial pound 250, say micro, and let Pure Talk's U.S. customer service team help you make the switch.
I move mountains for a living. Literally. That means I don't carry hand lotion, and when it comes to serious heartburn, I don't mess around with anything but Rolaids Max Strength. Its dual-active formula has 1,500 milligrams of calcium carbonate and magnesium hydroxide that relieves heartburn fast. And the best part? The roll fits right here in my pocket, so I can get back to moving mountains.
Rolaids spells powerful relief. 1,500 milligrams is our highest amount of antacid per tablet. Read each label. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Teams from Treasury, State, and the U.S. military are now meeting with their global counterparts to tell them that the United States expects action. Every country has a defined timeline to shut down activities we have identified. If they do not take action, we will do so unilaterally through Treasury authorities. For example, every branch of Bank Melee must be shuttered and dark. And let me be clear, any entity that facilitates money laundering on behalf of Iran will be removed from the U.S. dollar system. The clock just started ticking.
So you have Scott Bessent yesterday making that economic D-Day announcement saying that we're going to all out onslaught financially, economically, shut down everything that that we have the capacity to do. We're doing it. We're doing it all. And this is a different take. Yesterday, we spoke with Victoria Coates about this issue as well, and she was talking that this was something that was a bit unprecedented in the level with which they were going to take this on. And so we wanted to get to our guest now as well, Jim Carafano, who, of course, is a senior counselor to the Heritage President, Kevin Roberts, and E.W. Richardson Fellow at the Heritage Foundation. Jim Carafano, thanks for being with us today. That was quite a speech yesterday from Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. Can you put into terms for us average folks here in the Midwest what kind of effort this is from the administration towards Iran?
Yeah, so in comparison, we often said that North Korea is the most heavily sanctioned country on the planet, which was true. But we never really discussed the follow-up statement, which is how aggressively are these sanctions enforced? And not only are these very strategically hurtful sanctions in terms of crimping off money supply into the Iranian regime, but this administration actually has a really good track record of actually finding ways to implement the sanctions in a way that's painful for both the Iranians and the people supplying them. And basically it goes like this. If you transact in dollars, it's just not happening. If you try other instruments that are digital, like crypto, that can also be identified and snapped. And so it makes it either incredibly difficult to move money around, and it puts you at both criminal and financial risk. So for example, if you're a big bank and you say, well, I'm going to do this anyway, and you get caught, not to forget about just the sanctions, but the financial damage to your bank that could happen in terms of your bank not functioning and being able to function anywhere in the world. It's pretty painful. So it is really taking economic warfare to the basically the limits that modern technology can do that, and the full extent of political will to accept kind of the consequence of that. Now, I will say, and it bears saying, there is no guarantee that this is going to force the regime to make a deal or to force regime change. North Korea, many countries have lived under major sanctions for decades and survived, because if you're running an authoritarian regime, it doesn't matter how little money you have, you can always direct that small amount of money to the things that are important to you. So North Korea, for example, may have been really very sanctioned and limited, but they also built outside of the established nuclear powers, literally a major nuclear weapons capability in a country that can do almost nothing else. So, but what it does do is it significantly ups the capacity or the destruction of the capacity of the Iranians to recover. So if they make a deal, they have to give up all the bad stuff. If they don't make a deal, every day they don't make a deal, their capacity to ever do the bad stuff again, that gets pushed to the right on the calendar in terms of billions and trillions of dollars and months and years of work and infrastructure and trade to get back into the game.
We're speaking with retired Lieutenant Colonel James Carafano on the Annie Frey Show. I heard Treasury Secretary Bessent say yesterday, sort of towards the end of his prepared remarks, he spoke to two people, it seemed, outside of course, Iran. One was the countries that would be willing to do business with Iran to subvert this effort from the United States. But the second was those people fighting on behalf of Iran. He's like, lay down your arms, consider this. Is that on the ground in Iran, from what little we can know, or maybe how much we do have the capacity to know, is there dissension among the people within Iran as to what the actual goal here is and what is worth dying for?
Well, I mean, it is very difficult to get really concrete, what's going on inside of Iran, what are people thinking on the street and stuff. We see lots of different reports that, without question, the pressure in the country is ramping up. So, for example, photographs of really long gas lines and stuff. Having said that, one of the reasons why our goal is not regime change is nobody can tell us what's the tipping point on regime change. When is enough pressure brought that people actually just throw the yahoos out? We don't know that. So it doesn't matter how much dissent and people not getting paid or whatever. It may not be enough because we just don't know. And the other issue, of course, is with the diaspora, which the diaspora says, well, what are you doing? Look, I understand if you're an Iranian diaspora, your property was taken away, maybe your family was imprisoned, maybe relatives were killed and all that. But you got to understand, U.S. policy is not designed to make the Iranian diaspora happy or even give them a clear picture of what's going on. It's to protect America's interests. And I think what the president has really done is he's continued to keep American interests at the forefront. So one of the interesting things about this is, doesn't really get discussed, is not only is it economically a way to keep up very difficult, severe pressure on the regime, it also actually makes our military pressure more resilient and powerful because now we can essentially control the operational tempo, right? So we don't necessarily have to be prepping for strikes every day. We don't have to be burning through munitions all the time. And so, so we can attack again when it's convenient for us. And so this is called op tempo. How fast do you have to work every day? How many hours do you have to work? How long do you have to be at battle stations? How many sorties do you have to put off the aircraft deck? All that stuff. And so when those things slow down, it really eases the pressure on the force, which also means you can keep forces in the region longer. You can stockpile more munitions because you're not burning through them every day. It adds a lot of, even though you're not actually physically striking, your capacity to strike, the more you rest up, the more your capacity grows faster than the Iranian capacity because it's still very difficult for them to get stuff to build missiles and drones and all everything. So it actually is a twofer. You get more military pressure, you get more economic pressure. And the thing that, again, maybe people don't talk about enough is as significant as the U.S. economic warfare is, the decision by the UAE, which was one of the major avenues of Iranians still to do business in the larger world, they just cut that off. And that actually may be more painful to the regime than the sanctions. And the final thing I'll say is, if people don't believe that this is unbelievable economic pressure, people say, oh, well, they still have China. And yet China buys 90% of the oil. Where is all that oil? It ain't in China. It's sitting in Iran because they can't go anywhere. And the Chinese aren't going to give the Iranians money for stuff they don't have. And you have to remember, oil and related products are 56% of the country's exports. Exports are a major component of the economy. And that went from, that revenue stream went to almost virtual zero.
Wow. Have you noticed, is there any reaction? This was 24 hours ago when the Treasury Secretary made this announcement and put it in words for the globe to consume. Has there been global reaction to what the United States has said at this point?
Well, it's relatively muted because I think they're exquisitely negotiating this position about what do we really need, what kind of pressure are we really going to do to get that, and what are we going to let slide. It doesn't have to be 100% effective, and the less they talk about that publicly, the less pressure they put on countries to make deals, and the easier it is for us to exert pressure. So it's a great psychological campaign. This is maximum pressure, economic D-Day, and all that stuff. But you want to kind of do that risk reward balance where you don't want to pressure somebody into doing something that's actually going to maybe raise prices on a product here at home or cause blowback from that country. That's really not worth it for the additional economic strangulations you can do the regime. So it's finding that sweet spot, which again, it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be enough to overthrow the regime. It just has to keep the pressure on the regime. And again, it's all buying time for us to do other things. So, for example, you've seen the United States essentially go to completely controlling the Straits of Hormuz in terms of being able to put traffic through, clearing everything out. And then, we can shift over to having other people help and do that and everything else. And so it's very much the president has adopted very much a marathon strategy, which says, I can put pressure on you for a long time at a very reasonable cost for me. And there's literally nothing you can frickin' do about it. And, the key to this, when they write the history books on this, was the president's decision of, look, I am not looking at the midterms as some kind of deadline where if I don't get this, 100% resolved by the midterms, it's going to cost. He's already discounted that. He's focused on 2028. So if you think about that strategically for the Iranians, his timeline went from Labor Day, maybe, right, to 2.5 years. And yes, the Iranians can hang on, but literally Trump can do what he's doing now for the next 2.5 years.
Wow. And he seems willing to.
If he wants to. And they're not. Things are never going to, the Iranians are in the same place as the Russians. Their best day of the war is in the past. There's never a day in the future where things get better for them. And the one I have to laugh at, my good buddy Mark Thiessen, who I love like a brother, who's a brilliant guy, but he goes, oh my God, the Iranians are threatening an October surprise. Well, it's not a surprise if they're threatening it, right? Which means that if we know it's not like Pearl Harbor, we know it's coming. So we're not going to be sitting around like, oh my God, the Iranians are so we'll be prepared for that. And we could probably mitigate a lot of that even if they plan something. And then two is, look, the Iranians tried to take us out in round one and they got their butt kicked. And so who believes that after months of war and wiping through all that stuff, that they're going to have a better military success in round two? I laugh at the whole threat of an October surprise.
Well, I appreciate your clarity on this economic D-Day as it was being coined yesterday. And it does seem as though this president is resolved and he continues to take steps forward rather than backwards.
And the thing is, it's paying off. You can't say this is going to result in some kind of catastrophe in the energy market. We have a 400% of throughput through the Gulf that's only going to keep getting bigger. So the argument that the oil is a weapon here, that is completely off the table. The war is not going to widen. There's no evidence of that. Americans, tragically, Americans die, which is why the president has always said, I don't need to go full jihad here if I don't have to, because, every time we do a military strike, it puts my people at risk as well as the other side. I don't want to kill people. It's unnecessary, but our casualties are minimum. Our combat thing is completely sustainable. And again, what people are not listening to is, what is the rest of the world taking away from this? They're taking away, look what the Americans did to this regime. And America today, after 4 months of operations, has the most combat experience in some of the most complex military operations that you can possibly conduct on a scale that nobody else in the world can deal with. And it's not combat experience like the Russian military. In the Russian military, combat experience is you send guys to the front and they die 20 minutes later. So their half-life in combat is like less than a horsefly. The Americans are not dying; they're learning and they're improving. And so we have the most combat-ready force in the world today. And we're investing in arms, we're investing in munitions, we're investing in missiles, and we're blending our economic power with our military power. If anybody thinks that America is going to be a weaker as a result, they're just nuts.
Yeah, it's almost like they're willing
America
it to
was
happen.
at its zenith after fighting 60 years of the Cold War. That's where we're headed.
Jim Carafano, a pleasure to have you with us here as always. Thanks for your time today.
Thank you, my friend.
Take care. Bye-bye. Jim Carafano with the Heritage Foundation, so well-versed and experienced and well-educated on these different types of stories that we're facing. I was looking forward to that conversation today. Hope you were as well. It'll be available on the Annie Frey Show podcast. If you didn't get to hear the whole thing, you can run it back on the Annie Frey YouTube channel as well. We're going to speak with Hogan Gidley in about 10 minutes from now. That man has been a press secretary, and we're going to talk to him about what's next for the press secretary at the White House at 1:30. Get your votes in. We'll ask him about about this as well. How is the GOP going to fare in these midterm elections? Vote in the live chat poll on the Annie Frey YouTube live broadcast right now. And send us your texts, your thoughts, 314-241-9797. Back in a minute. The Retirement Advisory Group, Tammy Kershaw, Bob Kershaw, 314-993-9494. That's the number to reach them. If you are worried about your nest egg, you've worked really hard to build this sucker up. Probably looks pretty good right now. In my conversations with Bob and Tammy, they were saying, when the market starts to crash, that's when everyone starts to panic and say, oh, what do? I don't want to lose everything because the market looks bad. And you're right on that cusp of retirement. I want to get you ahead of the crowd. I don't know that anything's going to happen. Neither do they, and nobody does. If you did, you'd be filthy rich because of it. But consider having this conversation with the Retirement Advisory Group while stuff is going gangbusters. How do you protect it before the downturn sets in? If you connect with the Retirement Advisory Group at 314-993-9494 and beat the rush and flood of people who start to panic and make this phone call, do it while you're feeling pretty good about what your retirement accounts are doing. Tie yourself to the market, but don't participate in the market losses. Call them at 314-993-9494. That's 314-993-9494 and set up an appointment with them. Doesn't cost you anything to sit down and talk to them about how they can help you usher yourself into retirement. All the details you need to know online at retirementkey.com. Welcome back. So far, we've been able to talk to Julie Hartman of the Department of Education about school choice and the other efforts that the Education Department under President Trump, what they've been investing in. We just got done speaking with our friend Jim Carafano regarding Economic D-Day. We've got Hogan Gidley coming up in about 6 minutes from right now. We're going to talk about that White House press secretary position. He served as a press secretary, I believe, for the Trump campaign in 2020. So he knows, he's been in a deputy press secretary. He's been in this circle. It'll be interesting to hear his take on it. Do you have any? I want Scott Jennings. I don't care if it's good for Scott Jennings' career. It'd be good for the country, man. Answer the call.
Do I have anybody I'd like to see in that position?
Yeah.
I mean, aside from him, there's no name. I keep hearing possibly that Elena Haba.
She said no.
Oh, did she?
Yeah, she came out and said that's not being discussed.
Okay, so
unless it was everybody says that he's into you, and she's like, well, I haven't heard anything.
No, I don't have anybody in particular other than him. He just seems like he would be such a great press secretary.
He would be so effective. First of all, he's a Cardinals fan.
Mm-hmm.
Second of all, he's disarming with information in a I say this in a charming kind of way. It's not combative. I remember I was on the air. I think it was is this right? I think it was a Saturday night, the first time Sean Spicer did a press
They were
briefing.
major events when he
He
started
came
doing
in,
those.
and I mean, he might have had weapons on him. I don't know. But I was just like, what is he doing?
Yeah.
Because it was like week 1 of the administration, and Sean Spicer's like, got a new sheriff in town. And then he had puffy sleeves, but that was Dancing with the Stars. Sort of different. Not
It was
entirely.
later, too. It wasn't in the room.
But I just don't. I like that face of the administration proving that, and Carolyn Levitt was very good at this. Like, she was very charming, armed with information. But I don't want their goal to be to win. I want their goal to be to show how much everybody else is a loser. Is that, you know the difference?
Well, and back up the policies.
Yeah.
And show that they're good. And I think we've talked about Carolyn Levitt. We've talked about Kayleigh McEnany. We've talked about Sean Spicer, all being very good at
Sarah
it.
Huckabee Sanders.
Sarah Huckabee Sanders is the
She
one
was
we
incredible.
have. She was fantastic.
Yeah.
She might have been the best of all of them.
She was good. It needs, whoever it is the mouthpiece, obviously, of the administration. I do not want someone who goes in there and is looking to dunk on people all the time. That's what Trump does. We need someone to take what Trump does and be like, so really? Then fill in the blank there. The YouTube poll for today, how will the GOP fare in midterm elections? I think that this person who takes this press secretary job, even though they're not campaigning up there, they kind of are. Any comments on the YouTube live chat and the text line 314-241-9797?
Yep. This text says, not only do I think the Republicans maintain the House, I believe we will get a larger majority. I think that the DSA movement is going to blow up in the Democrats' face. Democrats always try to go too far because of their insatiable need for power and greed, never being satisfied with the ground they've gained.
No lies detected.
The other comments, so I saw a couple. I was peeking at Brad's side over there at the live stream, and I did see a few people who said that they're pretty pessimistic about this whole thing.
Yeah, Dirk says that I chose the GOP will lose both.
Wow.
Too many folks who are blind. There are too many folks.
Yeah, that's the way you say it.
Well, we're done talking about this.
Too many folks who are blind to the issues.
You said that like a Southerner.
Folks.
And
I'm ending this poll and we're putting up a new one.
And then Joe says, "I'm projecting super positive. But it's completely new because it's a completely new scenario. Intrigued to see if unpaid Dems vote."
I love that comment. It's so funny. It also, though, he's hitting on a point that makes it really hard to predict because going into this midterm, it should be a slam dunk for Democrats. This is a president that motivates Democrat voters and to some extent Republican voters who's in the midterms. You saw it happen in 2018. But there's been a sea change that has happened, and that is redistricting. It has limited the amount of seats that are in play in the House of Representatives down to, some people say, between 18 and 15 seats is really all we're talking about that are in play. So
think about the dollars that will be spent. I mean, this is my prediction. Highest midterm spend ever. Majority doesn't change, and the difference, it's still razor thin, and we've just crapped away all of those dollars.
That is going to happen. Right? We don't know which way it'll tilt, but it is going to be a lot of money in very few districts, and it is going to be a razor-thin majority one way or the other. So you're not going to see these wave elections in the House like you used to because both sides have fortified so much that these few seats is all it takes. And that's all that it'll determine it.
Well, keep sending us your text messages on this YouTube chat or on this YouTube chat poll. How will the GOP fare in the midterm elections? It's Tuesday, so in the 2 o'clock hour, X's and Y's, where we discuss the differences between men and women and answer your questions that you send in to us. Send them to Brad on the YouTube chat. You can leave your comments there on our live broadcast today. And you can send your text message questions for X's and Y's to Ryan Wiggins on the text line, 314-241-9797. Curious of your suggestions as well for press secretary. Let's talk to Hogan Gidley next. Don't go away.
We ask you today, how will the GOP fare in midterm elections? We were just talking about it. We're asking you whether they will retain the majorities, lose one or the other. You'll see all the options there at the YouTube live chat poll when you log in and you see the total vote. You'll also see the results before we announce them at the end of the show, which comes at just before 3 o'clock, so stay tuned for that. It is 1:32. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Wahlberg, thank you very much, Tim. Good job. And our press secretary, a mother of two, and well, she decided she loved her children more than she loved Donald Trump. I'm very upset about this. She has to go home and spend time with her children. That does happen on occasion with some people when they love their children, and she does. And Caroline, congratulations on your newborn, your perfect newborn. And she's done a fantastic job. She's been a great press secretary. Now, if I say you're the best of all time, I have Sarah sitting here, so I'll have, but let's put it this way, they were both great. Okay,
President Trump speaking about the press secretary opening position right now that they have at the White House because, of course, Carolyn Levitt has decided to spend more time raising her kids. I understand that she is still going to be very active in the political game and working hard to make sure that Republicans continue to get elected. But what next for this incredibly important role at the White House? Hogan Gidley joins us once again, senior advisor for the America First Policy Institute, also former national press secretary for the Trump campaign. You have been around the communications block time and time again, Hogan Gidley. I would say first and foremost, this is a pretty significant loss for the administration to lose Carolyn Levitt.
It is, in large part because of what you see in a forward-facing press secretary, someone who articulates the vision, the message for the President of the United States in a beautiful way that she did, in digestible sound bites so people could understand what was going on. But also behind the scenes, Donald Trump, while he revels in people that are loyal, and Caroline Levitt was assuredly that, he also needs people around him he can trust. And Caroline is one of those people who sees him at his best and at his worst, and families and squabbles and staff arguments and all the things. To be able to trust somebody like that who doesn't go running to the press or leaking is kind of a premium in the Trump administration. And she handled so much of this so well. And I think back to her first briefing. So many people thought she's too young. She can't do this. It is interesting, though, just knowing the position the way I do, having worked with Sarah Sanders and Stephanie Grisham and Kayleigh McEnany. And by the way, Caroline was just a young junior staffer when Kayleigh was there. Interestingly enough, she got through it ready on day one as press secretary. Did a great job. But as with any position forward-facing like that, especially a spokesperson for the greatest nation on the history of on the face of the earth and the history of the world, she grew into that role because every meeting you have with a president, every meeting you have with foreign heads of state or cabinet secretaries or policy leaders, national security teams, chiefs of staff, you learn so much. It's coming at you all of the time. You have a command of the issues and knowledge that no one else has. And we often kind of joke, and we would tell Sarah, just a reminder, you're going into these meetings and having conversations with reporters where you know way more than they do on the subject matter at hand. But there's a trap there, and that is revealing too much or not going far enough. And I think Caroline was as good as anybody at doing that job. So she's going to be sorely missed, no doubt about it.
Hogan Gidley speaking with us right now. I think people thought when Sarah Huckabee Sanders left, who are they going to find now? And Kayleigh McEnany and Carolyn Levitt, all three of whom have done this job, including others who have been able to take the podium. I mean, good grief. Marco Rubio, Scott Bessent, Tom Homan, among other people who have had to go in there and face that crowd of people who are generally speaking adversarial. Where do you expect the administration administration to go from here? How should they look at this position? Because every opening is still an opportunity. How should they think about it?
Well, a couple things. First of all, not generally adversarial. 98% of the people in that room voted for Donald Trump's opponent. 98% of the people in that room don't like any of the Make America Great Again, America First agenda policy positions that the administration takes. So it's quite hostile, to say the least, and nowhere was that more obvious than Sarah Sanders. I think it's a different press briefing room now, in large part because this staff, rightly so, after the onslaught of lies and court cases and trying to jail Donald Trump, you come in there with the level of swagger when you win all the swing states and you win the popular vote like you didn't have before. There wasn't Russia collusion hoaxes hanging overhead. You can kind of blow past those as a press team and as a press secretary and drill down on what the American people really care about. And so as they're looking forward, you've got a plethora of strong Republican talent that could do that job. But, first and foremost, you have to have someone who meshes well with the president. You have to have someone that he trusts. And that trust goes over time, no doubt about it. But when we're heading into a midterm, you're going to want someone with some gravitas and with some star power and who can handle the limelight, because it's the biggest job on the face of the planet. You have everybody from the Daily Mail to TMZ following you around town, clipping pictures of you at your worst, not to mention people writing horrible things about your family, your personal life, your professional dealings. So, it takes a special kind of person to do it, not to mention the fact you have to perform for an audience of one a lot of times in Donald Trump. So a lot to take into consideration, but there's no doubt that if they are going to fill it, and a lot of people are of the mind they're just not going to for a while, I think Donald Trump will make the decision. He's made some good choices there, as you mentioned, the three with Kayleigh and Sarah and Caroline. Again, flying right into the face of the narrative that Donald Trump doesn't have important women around, to say nothing, of course, of the chief of staff, who is a woman, or both campaign managers, in Kellyanne Conway and Susie Wiles, who's now chief of staff, but they were both women as well. Also, the first time we had mothers in that role, and he's had three of them, for heaven's sake. So spare me the nonsense about not liking women in positions of power. He, I would argue, in a lot of people's minds, prefers it.
I was just going to say, if you wanted to go the way of how it seems the Democrats who get in power make these type of decisions, the real inclusive thing next to do with this position is to pick a man, because there hasn't been a man. Democrats included, with Psaki and Karine Jean-Pierre, seems to be a role that recent administrations have suggested should be female. Is there a reason for that? Any reason why a man wouldn't potentially be considered for this next job?
Oh, no, I think a man's always considered for it. I think it matters what the sitting president at the time really wants. And let's be honest, Joe Biden did it because he wanted to fill a quota, right? He wanted He wanted a black woman, a person of color on the bench for Supreme Court. So he wanted a woman of color for vice president. So he himself, didn't care about their bona fides, and quite obviously in their performances, you see that comes back to bite you sooner or later. But Donald Trump, on the other hand, look, I think he likes certain people on television, which is important. They need to be out front. And let's be honest, there's a reason Hollywood movie stars are attractive.
Sure.
Because you're more likely to watch them and pay attention and click on what they have to say and buy tickets to the movies and DVDs or streaming services with them in it, whatever. He wants someone that looks the part. And there's nothing wrong with that at all, because you're delivering messages to the American people every single day. You are the face of the administration in a lot of ways. And so, whether that be a man or a woman, I know he's going to make the right choice.
Amen. Hogan Gidley is speaking with us right now. Before we let you go, we're asking our audience today in our YouTube poll, how will the GOP fare in the midterm elections? Polls suggest, I think there was a Kalshi betting market report on CNBC said that 15% chance that the Republicans retain the majority in the House of Representatives. How do you feel going into the midterms about where the Republicans currently stand?
I'm a little more bullish than that, than 15%. History is a tough thing to buck. I'm going to put it at 50-50 right now, though, because of redistricting. And because the left, instead of saying the American people clearly want moderation, they're doubling down on men and women's sports. They're doubling down on transgender surgeries for children. They're doubling down on open borders and getting rid of ICE and blowing up the Supreme Court, getting rid of the U.S. Senate as the socialists want to do, the communists want to do, getting rid of the presidency. Those types of things, I think, once they're played out at the local level, I think are going to be difficult for people to vote for. I will just say what is a warning for my conservative friends is polling shows the vast majority of Democrats think socialism is better than capitalism. About 40% of independents think socialism is better than capitalism. But I would proffer this. It's because they don't know the definition of it. And that is also borne out by statistical data. They don't know what it is. So if you're angry at the system as you know it, and someone comes to you and says, I got an alternative, listen, it's free everything. Really? That sounds amazing. What's it called? Communism. Has it ever been tried? Not like I want to do it. It's all brand new. Then you're going to say, maybe I should try to do that. Now, you and I both know everywhere it's been tried, it's failed. It's left a swath of death and destruction and poverty in its wake. But people don't know that. So if you're going to package it nicely and just say Medicare for all and we want free health care and free this, and your opponent's saying, look, we can't have free stuff like that. The can't have free stuff candidates are going to face some headwinds because honestly, Annie, I don't know about you or your audience, I'd love free health care. The problem is it's not real.
It's not free.
Yeah. I would love free health care. I think that's a great idea. The problem is you can't make it free, and every place that has tried it, you have weeks or months or years to see a doctor for simple procedures. It doesn't work, and by the estimates that just came out from, I think it was a liberal entity, it's going to be like a $70 trillion. It's massive numbers on what it would cost. And so they're telling you something that isn't true. But in the heat of the battle and the anger you feel toward the way things are, you're looking for alternatives. That's how Republicans need to not just educate, but they need to proffer an alternative that give people some semblance of hope that while our system isn't perfect, it is better than anything else that's been tried on the face of the planet because ours is still around. The average lifespan of a constitution around the world is 17 years. Ours is 250 years. So that tells you what we have is special. It is long lasting, and it is the best form of government on the planet if we can keep it.
Oh, amen to that. A republic, if you can keep it. Hogan Gidley, it's a pleasure to have you on. We look forward to where this press secretary position goes. I am interested in that idea that maybe for the time being, they just kind of fill it in as the time moves on. I think that when they did that with her maternity leave, that was a smart move. We got access to people who normally wouldn't be at that podium, so we will see how it goes. Thank you, Hogan, for being with us today. It's always good to speak with you.
Thanks so much.
Take care.
Talk soon.
Okay, bye-bye. Hogan Gidley here on the Annie Frey Show. I love being able to speak to him because he has had such intricate access to President Trump over the course of his terms and his campaigns, knows the inside there very well. I'm going to take a break here. When we come back, that YouTube poll, how will the GOP fare in midterm elections? Hogan's not painting a rosy picture, but certainly not worst case scenario. What are your thoughts? 314-241-9797. Text us your thoughts. Vote in the YouTube live chat poll and leave a comment there for Brad to read here. We'll get to some of those when we return on the Annie Frey Show. Don't go away. Well, really sad news in the Hollywood world, Nashville. I don't know. It's not even cool to put Dolly Parton in the Hollywood. She's bigger. She's better than that. I don't know.
Yeah, she existed outside of it.
Yeah.
Too.
She's passed away at the age of 80. There's so many reasons to love Dolly Parton. My Dolly Parton connection, other than liking her music and appreciating what she did for country music, is her book program, where they send out books to kids. When my second daughter was going to the YMCA daycare when she was itty-bitty, we tried to find in-home care for her, just couldn't find it. Went to the YMCA daycare in Edwardsville and just loved the experience of it. But they would sign their kids up. All the kids that were there got signed up for the book program that she does, and every month for years, Evelyn got a Dolly Parton storybook in the mail. Just no cost, just sent it out.
They were all Dolly Parton books, or they were just a variety
they
of
were
books?
I'm gonna figure. I'll find out what the name of the program was, but it's a program that she had. She just sent books out to kids. Like Dolly Parton did so many things like that, just good things. And I'm pretty sure Imagination Library, Dolly Parton's Imagination Library, which honestly, if you look into that, you might qualify to sign up for that program too. I don't even know what the parameters were because it was kind of ushered into our household through the daycare that Evelyn was going to. But like just sending kids books, that's incredible. I've never been to Dollywood. You said you went?
We went 2 years ago, like 2 summers ago, and it was the first time I'd ever been there. And she was pretty involved with that park. It wasn't just like somebody bought her name and stuck it on it and used her branding. She was pretty involved, and she was launching something in the park the Memorial Day weekend. That was some kind of, it was like festival, but it was something artistic. I can't remember what it was. But she was there in the park and, walking around and doing stuff. And I think she was kind of riding around, like do a parade, and she'd go on, the last float, of course. And we were excited because we thought, and then it wouldn't tell you where she was going to be because they know if we tell you right here, the whole crowd would the whole park would crowd right there. So you never really knew, but we knew she was in the park the weekend we were there. And we would hear, she's over here, and everybody'd run, and then, she's over here. And we never got to see her. But my kids started asking, of course, like, why is this park named Dollywood, and who is she? And we got to tell her. We had a conversation in the studio right around then or right before then about, and the question was something like, it was probably a YouTube poll, is there anybody that uniquely unites people now?
Yeah, she's just,
she
to
was
me,
it.
As Americana as you can get. Like, just to me, the things that are American. Like, if you were doing a country song and you were listing out things that were American, Dolly Parton would be one of them. And you don't have to like country music to acknowledge that. She just sang at the Super Bowl or something.
Did she?
Was it like there was just something recently. She was in a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader getup. Pretty sure it was lip sung. But she was just there. She just passed away at the age of 80. What's your favorite Dolly Parton song? Do you know any?
Yeah, it's Jolene.
Jolene is so good.
Yeah, it's really good. I actually don't like 9 to 5 very much.
Really? Why?
I don't know. I just
Never
think
worked
it's
one?
kind of cheesy.
Oh.
And I didn't like the movie very much either. It was a movie.
I didn't know it was a movie.
Yeah, and she was in it.
I love the song 9 to 5.
But I'm not a country fan. She was just ubiquitous though. She was way bigger
How about
than
Islands in the Stream?
Yeah, that's a pretty good song.
I like Ghetto Superstar better.
I like Islands in the Stream better.
Than Ghetto Superstar?
Because I also don't like rap music very much. But Jolene's just a great song. That's just a really good song. And no matter who covers it, it's still good. That's how you know.
Miley Cyrus has a great cover.
That's how you know it's a good song.
Do you have a favorite Dolly Parton song?
I Will Always Love You. And I know that Whitney Houston covered it, but again, it's still just a great Dolly Parton song. I also like the hymns she would do. She would release every so often a couple hymns. She did a really cool version of I'll Fly Away that I really like. But her voice lends herself to the old Southern hymns, and it just sounds cool.
80. Would you have had, if 80 over under, if someone had said Dolly Parton's age? 80.
I was saying 80 when I saw, I was saying over 80. When I saw that she was only 80, I was surprised.
Yeah. But still very, very active.
Very active.
Throughout the last years of her life, which came to an end. She's Dolly Parton dead at 80.
Fox News is playing back a interview that they did with her on May 24th. That's the day I think we were in the park of 2024.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
She was talking a lot about Taylor Swift in this interview that's up here, and just like talking about how Taylor Swift is an icon that you can go see with your family and everything, that just reasons why she appreciated it. I think that Dolly Parton's, obviously the stuff you're talking about, the Imagination Library that she funded that sends books to kids or whatever, but she still stayed relevant and current. You know, it's not like somebody who fades away into the background or whatever. The YouTube poll for today: how will the GOP fare in midterm elections? You got a text message over there at 314-241-9797.
Pull up the text line. A lot about Dolly. Of course, people want to weigh in on that. But yeah, it's going to take me a second because there's so many Dolly texts.
I've got one here from Quick Rick. It says, remember the red wave? Didn't happen. Is this year going to be a blue wave that also doesn't happen? Be careful what people tell you is going to happen.
Yeah, it's a smart assessment here, because I think that the history, people are like, oh, history is hard to beat. We just heard that from Hogan Gidley as well. But that's accurate. That's true. If the Democrats get a little too ahead of themselves, they might have to, man, we covered that election night, and that sucked. It was like a womp womp from the jump. I think that's when you were in the election center in my basement.
Probably.
It was not good. I think that was the year Eric Schmidt won. That was like the one bright spot out of that whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Although that was never a surprise. So in the next hour, we're going to do X's and Y's. You can send your text messages to the show, 314-241-9797, and send us your X's and Y's questions. We feature yours. If you send good ones, we'd love to include them in the next hour here on the Annie Frey Show. Don't go away.
This is a Fox News alert. An American legend is gone. I'm Lisa Brady. Dolly Parton has died. The iconic entertainer was 80 and passed away peacefully in Nashville.
My family and I have shared a lifetime of beautiful memories with Dolly, but so have you. She has always been on your television, your record player, your CD, and on your phone playlist, becoming an extended part of your family, whether you liked it or not.
A family statement read by her nephew, Brian Seaver, who says his aunt opened doors for her family and for generations of singers, songwriters, musicians, and dreamers around the world.
By her example, we believe that anything was possible. She never saw a door she couldn't open, and the doors she opened made and changed history.
She wrote hundreds of songs, but was also an actress, businesswoman, and philanthropist. President Trump says there will never be anyone like her, just announcing flags will be lowered to half staff for 1 week in her honor. Canada slapping new tariffs on American goods, including steel, cheese, and seafood, a response to higher U.S. tariffs that kicked in after trade talks broke down. Ontario Premier Doug Ford tells Fox Business' Lydia Hu the dispute will lead to layoffs in the auto sector.
He has been at the center of the back and forth with President Trump. Yesterday, Ford even said about Trump, "I just don't like the guy." But today, Ford acknowledged it got a little heated, and now he says he wants a deal.
We buy more agricultural products than anywhere in the world tied with Mexico, and we want to buy more, and we want to ship more, no matter if it's our aluminum or our steel or our high-grade nickel that we ship down, and aluminum as well, and so on and so forth. So I think the best thing to do is get a deal.
And Canadian officials also acknowledged today that this trade fight will hurt them.
America is listening to Fox News.
In a recent survey of 123,000 wireless customers, Pure Talk was the only wireless company to receive 5 stars in every category: coverage, support, value, and data. What else do you need to know? Switch to Pure Talk today and get any plan, including their top shelf unlimited data plan for just $15 a month for your first 3 months. No contract, no commitment. Dial pound 250, say micro, and let Pure Talk's U.S. customer service team help you make the switch.
I move mountains for a living. Literally. That means I don't carry hand lotion, and when it comes to serious heartburn, I don't mess around with anything but Rolaids Max Strength. Its dual active formula has 1,500 milligrams of calcium carbonate and magnesium hydroxide that relieves heartburn fast. And the best part? The roll fits right here in my pocket, so I can get back to moving mountains.
Rolaids spells powerful relief. 1,500 milligrams is our highest amount of antacid per tablet. Read each label. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
The WNBA continues to not be able to get out of its own way. I said this, I think it was maybe last week, but the most frustrating thing about this whole WNBA situation, men saying, oh, we're going to play in the WNBA, pushing the issue, calling the question. The WNBA has said, no, we stand by the trans community. Sophie Cunningham saying, this is kind of what really put the gasoline on the fire here. Sophie Cunningham's quote that was a few months ago, quoted from, I think, maybe a year or two before that, saying that it should be girls and girls sports, essentially. She came back and reiterated, listen, I think anybody is welcome at my table. And she said that, but in order for there to be love for your neighbor, there has to be truth as well. Truth and love go hand in hand. And it should be women who are playing in women's sports. Just keeping it real and saying what not everybody else is thinking, because it's clear that the people in the WNBA that are running the WNBA, whether they think it or not, they're not brave enough to say it. They have just come out and said that Enes Kanter Freedom and was it Royce White is the other guy, can't play in the WNBA. And they did not give a reason other than to say that they're not allowed to play in the WNBA because it's just a PR stunt. Well, this screams to me lawsuit. Because the question is, what is woman? If Enes Kanter Freedom and Royce White can say, I'm a woman, I'm good at basketball, I want to play in the WNBA, and they are discriminated against because they're not the right kind of woman, somebody has to define a line somewhere.
Please, somebody bring this to court so we can find out what a woman is legally. It's amazing that we have to do this. It really is amazing that we're in a place where it's going to take some serious lawsuits for America to finally say, all right, let's draw some boundaries up and define what a woman is. But this could do it. Something as ridiculous as this, because it is a PR stunt in a way.
But there's a point to it.
But there's a real point behind it.
Enes Kanter Freedom doesn't need people to know who he is.
No.
People know who he is. He's already done his thing. He's already become a star because of the talent he has to play basketball. He's already done that. In order to be relevant, he doesn't need this. He's actually kind of putting it on the line so that it can benefit somebody else. Well, Charles Barkley weighed in, and I like to listen to Charles Barkley talk because I do really feel like he speaks. I don't always feel like Charles Barkley has thought deeply about the things he says. Sometimes I think he just says what he thinks and feels in the moment. I kind of like that because that's how most humans operate. Charles Barkley was in an interview and was commenting on this, and he's kind of bringing it all central, putting a spotlight on this issue and saying what needs to be said by, I'm saying this, more men, especially men athletes who understand the other side of the difference. They don't want to speak up because they don't want to sound like they're demeaning to women. You are demeaning women if you don't speak up, and you know better.
I always support the gay community. I always support the transgender community. I got none but love and respect for gay people and transgender people. But under no circumstances do I think men should play against women. Zero. I'm disappointed in Adam Silver and Kathy, the commissioner. First of all, you can't let stupid stuff go out to the internet, which is one of the worst things that ever happened to the world. They should have come out 2 weeks ago before all this, because people are looking for attention now. Just say,
including this guy.
But he has a point, though, because Kathy and Adam haven't said, hey, it's in the title, WNBA. We're not going to have transgender people in the WNBA, and we're not going to discuss it again. That's what Adam and Kathy should have done 2 or 3 weeks ago before they turn it over to the internet and every fool, idiot, and jackass to have an opinion on. Adam should come out, and Kathy. I like both of them a lot. Women there's no transgender people going to play in the WNBA. If you don't like it, kick rocks. We're not going to discuss it anymore. And Ennis is trying to get attention because listen, if he did all the operation things, we're not doing that either. The WNBA is for women. And listen, this is the last time we're going to discuss it. We're not going to turn it over to the fools on the internet. We're not going to turn it over to Congress and things like that. The WNBA is for women only, period.
There you have it. Charles Barkley saying that's the whole point. If Enes Kanter Freedom and Royce White are able to get those individuals, the commissioner of both leagues, to say it's for women, period, done, discussion over, then everything that Enes Kanter Freedom and Royce White are doing right now, and I hear rumblings that there are other people involved in stepping up, if they're able to get those commissioners to say that, they have proved their point. Are they going to further? Is Enes Kanter Freedom going to further his effort? Does he really want to play in the WNBA? No. He's calling the question on the mockery that the leadership, the executives, are making of their own league. I have a solution to this whole problem. I just thought about this on the way in. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
With Charles Barkley's very directed and focused point there, the WNBA is for women. If you're not a woman, you are not in the dub. Here's what needs to happen. The WNBA, subsidized by the NBA, correct? WNBA does not exist outside of the NBA. The WNBA has now turned a profit a little bit. I think in the last year was the first year that they were profitable, right?
As far as we understand it, yes.
So here's the opportunity. We have a solution here. Take those profits, and now, since the WNBA has enjoyed the generosity and the subsidy of the NBA, the WNBA should subsidize the TNBA.
Wow. Yes.
And then everybody has a place to play.
There's going to be a lot of money invested in recruitment. I'd watch the TNBA.
I know more people would watch the TNBA than the WNBA, and that would be a catastrophe, and then they could pay the loan back.
I'd be waiting in line for my PSL.
The WNBA is going to end up being subsidized by the NBA and the TNBA.
You know, it ended up being basically a minor league NBA. With I don't know if would the guys have to wear wigs and stuff. That's all the.
I don't know. I think it'd be more like the seniors.
Well, yeah, okay.
Or both.
Mm-hmm.
Good idea.
Great idea.
The TNBA.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone plays.
Everyone plays.
Slogan. You don't even have to pay me for that
We
idea.
still need to define what a woman is.
No,
though.
we don't.
Because if you're going to be trans, you like what does that mean? Like, do you have to wear what do you do?
No, everyone plays.
You just have to say you're a woman.
XX, WNBA, XY, NBA. Everyone who has that can qualify for those leagues. TNBA, everyone plays.
Everyone plays.
It's the wokest thing you can think of. And it will get eyeballs.
And all the games end in ties? No winners, no championships? Because everybody's got to win, too.
I don't know. I would actually just enjoy watching them figure it out.
You can't hurt people's feelings
you
by
guys do
having
whatever
somebody
you
lose.
want. You do it. Well, we could have emotional points.
That's what we should do, like a bananas game.
It's like you, in the middle, at halftime, you establish a protest of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever gets the most people on their side of the court to protest their cause wins 30 bonus points.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, let's take a halftime to educate you all on climate change. I would go to that and I would listen because it would be amazing. I would hear whatever they had to say.
TNBA.
Okay.
You would.
I would invest in that.
You would totally watch that.
I would watch it.
When I was thinking this on the way into work, I'm like, oh, this will be successful.
It has to be crazy though. I mean, you got to go
Anything
all in.
goes.
It has to be like the XFL.
It's like the Savannah Bananas meet the solution to all things. It's just a catch-all.
Yeah.
There could be a lot of dancing.
This would be the woke version of the WWE. like go all the way the other direction. WWE is like
Ryan,
full
I was
masculine.
about to judge your idea there, but I have learned my lesson, and sure.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You
I think
cannot
it's
say
a great
anything is
idea.
wrong.
Mm-mm.
Except for non-inclusion. That's wrong. But then the problem is then we have wrong things. It's a vicious cycle.
I'm wondering where the cis heterosexual conservatives fit in.
Everyone's welcome. Everyone plays.
There's going to be like a page of footnotes, but not you. It's going to say everyone plays. And then an asterisk and below it should be like everyone but you.
You do. I think there does need to be, and this is something as an investor that I would address.
They can be the people who sweep the floor after the players sweat and fall.
You want to make sure that we're including the janitors?
No, those aren't janitors.
Custodians.
And I'm trying to include cisgender, white, heterosexual men
Oh, so they can do those jobs. Is what
But
you're saying.
in a place that's, servicing the outcome, but not really the star of the show. You can see them, and they're there, but they're support.
They would have to, and again, this is me as a board of directors.
I don't know if you qualify.
They'll take my money. The participants in the game have to wear wigs. They have to have long girl wigs. Even though not all girls have long hair, this is a requirement for us. And they have to wear dresses.
I don't know that they have to be presenting as women.
No, they have to be presenting as women.
No,
and
they don't.
we're going to define
Now
what that is.
Now you're excluding people.
It's trans.
What about very masculine homosexual men? They would be welcome there as well. They don't need to, you can't force upon a gender norm on those people.
I'm not forcing anything on anyone unless they want to play in the TNBA.
Oh, no. You have too many rules. You can't do this.
I think that I can.
I would also like to watch you try. There's a lot of consistencies here.
I've hit my end.
I
don't have anywhere to go.
You being a PSL owner. We'll see if there's anyone else out there who wants to be a foundational member of the TNBA. Subsidized by the WNBA. Subsidized by the NBA. Subsidized by people who actually want to pay to watch basketball. We'll be right back. Air Comfort Service online at aircomfortservice.com. If you have heard me talking about how Air Comfort Service has come to my home and helped me with a HVAC repair of like all sorts of things, they also do commercial repairs as well. If you're a business owner, building manager, operations manager, if you're the person in the office who just does the things and knows the things and, like what even is your title, you know who you are. If you've got an HVAC problem that needs to be addressed, reach out to Air Comfort Service and ask them to come take a look at it. 314-513-0091. Call Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation to get a free second opinion on a heat exchanger or compressor repair. They have been providing residential and commercial heating and cooling services for almost 60 years. 314-513-0091. That's 314-513-0091. A free second opinion, that's incredibly valuable to getting the project fixed the right way or replaced, and also to the bottom line. So call Air Comfort Service. You could trust them. 314-513-0091. 314-513-0091. aircomfortservice.com.
Check it out. Sports and local.
Ethan's Afternoon Delight.
That's a new one.
I like that one.
Wait for tomorrow's new one. Oh, man.
I'm impressed that you're making new ones.
Yeah, it's been a while, so it was time.
I was very surprised this morning when he went to put new ones into the system.
I think it may be all
Ryan
new
trying
ones
at his job
for the next week and a half.
What?
The rest of this week and next
You
week.
feeling all right over there? You sure?
Feeling real good.
Maybe feeling a little too good.
How's your resume?
It needs beefing up. That's why I'm doing this.
Aren't we all?
Afternoon Delight here on Sports and Local.
Okay.
Take
your time.
Let's think.
You know, you have to join us here in this.
Did you guys hear that Dolly Parton passed away?
Yeah.
It's kind of sad.
Thanks for the music.
Yeah, no problem. In
not sports
other
or local.
unfortunate news, this time for the St. Louis Cardinals, Mason Wynn is going to the injured list.
Boo.
He's been dealing with some issues with his left thumb over the past week or so, slid awkwardly into second base. I believe that was early last week against the Reds, and hasn't really been able to swing ever since. So he hasn't been on the injured list, but he's still been coming in and pinch running opportunities. They just decided it's going to be a couple of weeks before that heals up. So they're going to put him on the injured list. As a result, our old friend Nolan Gorman is coming back to the Major League Ball Club. He's been in AAA for the past couple of months, pretty much the entirety of the summer, because, well, he swings and misses a lot, like too much. He doesn't hit the baseball enough.
That's
really what it comes down to.
Experiencing homelessness.
He experiences sucking at his job. That's basically what it is.
Mason Wynn, namesake of my King Charles Cavalier Spaniel, Winnie.
Mm-hmm. Super cute and a little bit salty.
So you're
Has
saying
not
about
been brought
Mason
back in. No, the dog.
She would still cuddle with you the whole day. She'd sit on your lap the
Best.
whole day.
I still have that video of her sitting on my lap at my desk and her just chewing on my desk.
I have a video of Ryan doing
that.
Did she fit?
You do that too, Ryan?
How
I did.
small was she when she was here? Was
she
like
was
the size of your hand?
little. Yeah, she was tiny. Super cute, though.
She's about 10, 11 pounds, fully grown.
Cutest. But yeah, Nolan Gorman coming back up from AAA. Obviously was really struggling before he got sent down. And the first month or so at AAA was not much better. The batting average was, I think, around like 150 his first month there. But he's been hitting a lot better as of late. The OPS since the end of July is around 900, which is really good. Has hit 10 home runs in that time as well. So the swing and miss hasn't necessarily gotten that much better, but at least the power's there. Who knows? Maybe
he swings real hard.
Let's be honest. We've seen a lot of Nolan Gorman. I think we probably just know what he is at this point.
Do we finish the season, the games that we have left, not the record on the season, but with what remains in the season, will they be at 500?
We're at 500 right now.
I know, but
So
I'm
that
saying,
means we'd
like,
have to
forget about,
finish-
no, not what is the final record. It's August, so maybe like 30 games
You're
left.
asking me if they'll finish 500 the rest of the way.
Will they go 15 and 15?
That's what I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Because they're 500 right now in total, so they would be the same. If they go 500 the rest of the way out, they would finish the season.
Does anyone
500.
understand what I'm trying to ask?
Yes, I
Ethan
understand what you're
Is there an
trying
even
to ask.
number or
Sorry,
odd number?
Huh?
You're asking him to predict whether
What's
they
our
will.
record right now?
Right now it's 66 and 66.
I'm going to do some math. 66
You're
and
asking
66.
if we go 15 and 15, we'd be 81 and 81. You're saying what are the chances that we finish 500?
No.
For the final month of the season.
That's not what I'm saying.
Then
Yes.
I got nothing.
No, I don't know
Yes,
then
that is
either.
what you're saying?
We do have 30 games left.
Yes.
I just guessed.
Okay.
I'm asking in the last 30 games if we'll be better or worse than 500 in those 30 games.
Yep.
You think we will?
I mean, I think that you're probably right now. I was saying yes to I understood what you were asking, just to clarify. I think what they are right now is a pretty good, it's a pretty accurate spot as to who they are. I don't think that they're going to finish
You don't think
much
you're going to
better
fall
than
off
500.
or have that 2011 August run?
Losing two starting pitchers in the past week is tough.
Yeah.
It's really tough. One of the spots is being filled with a very young, unproven starting pitcher that you're excited to see because he's a prospect and there's great potential there, but there's also a world in which he's a prospect and it could be bumpy. And then we don't even know who the 5th starter is going to be for the Cardinals. There's talks about them maybe just signing a free agent for the last month of the season. You would not believe this, but Miles Michaelis' name is being brought up as to being re-signed just to get them through the end of the season and not have to bring up someone that's not ready. So buckle up, St. Louis.
Is he sitting on his couch somewhere right now?
He got released from Washington probably a month ago. He had just surpassed
Matt
10
Carpenter
years.
was just in town.
He was with the Savannah Bananas. Miles Michaelis.
Can he pitch?
Nope, he cannot. Michaelis had
Have
just
you seen him?
surpassed 10 years of service time, so he's actually considered a veteran, and right after that he got released. So
They kind of did him a solid then.
they really did, because he had been having the worst season in baseball of all starting pitchers. Statistically. You'll do it? Ryan will do it?
If they just
no
need
day
it.
games, Ryan.
If they just need innings.
Ryan.
League minimum is probably better than I make here. I'll do it.
Probably.
Really?
Probably better than this show makes here.
I think the league minimum is like 800,000 or something like that.
It's pretty close.
So-
It's pretty close then, yeah.
Okay.
Ryan,
I guess I'll do
Ryan, could you throw a strike?
it. Not fast.
No. Could you get in the zone?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
You ever watch those EFIS pictures? Like when you could be up there and striking from the that would be like a movie.
You know what I should do? Is,
Haphazard
is do
daytime
underhand.
co-host takes over mound, rookie of the year. Be like on the Chicago Cubs. What is that, rookie of the year?
Yes.
He breaks his arm?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Pitcher's got a big butt. If I
You would
threw
look
it
at that.
underhand and then had unlimited arc, and it could come down just past the plate, man, they wouldn't know what hit him.
It
And
would be
it'd
the
me.
ball. The first time someone made contact, you'd have a heart attack.
Oh my gosh!
You would
Yeah.
die
Oh, I would
on the mound.
No, that's the thing though, is that I don't think that they have any rules against wearing pads
They can't be
as
white.
a pitcher. You can wear padding. I could just cover myself in
Maxi
Nerf.
pads.
No, not girl pads.
Stick them all
Girl
over.
Boy pads.
Boy pads.
Those are the same. X's and Y's coming up in a few minutes.
We'll find out.
How am I
Ethan?
even supposed to transition from that? It's
We can
just
go to
not,
break if
it's
you
just
if you want to.
absolutely
They should do another
not-
story.
It's just
No, here.
absolutely not fair.
You hold on to the rest of those stories for tomorrow in case they're super timely.
How about one more? One
Thank
more.
you.
Did you guys hear about the guy that snuck into the big cat country enclosure at the zoo?
Yeah, we
last
did this on
weekend?
yesterday's show.
Uh-huh.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah, and I said I'm scooping Ethan, but it was yesterday. That's what you get for not listening to Wiggins America.
I work with 2 shows.
Sounds like you just work with one.
I was calling you out on the air in that segment.
He was. He was talking crap on you.
Yeah. I said, I bet Ethan tries to do this story, but screw him.
I did try to do that story. You freaking jerk. Stealing mine. Well, guess what? I have one that
He's going to suggest the TNBA here in a second. Everybody hold on.
I got this story that it's not too often that in sports and local, as I'm stumbling upon stories, that I find ones that would be good for Wiggins America.
Uh-huh.
And this is a great Wiggins America
You
one.
want to scoop him?
And I'm just going to, hold on to it.
No, you should go ahead because then I won't do it because I'm listening.
Well,
This is totally going to be tomorrow's
the time
Wiggins
is
America.
the time is up, so I can't.
You can tell me off air.
I'm not going to.
What kind of fun is that? Oh, man. X's and Y's coming up next on the Annie Frey Show. Text us your questions that you want us to address. Why do women always, or why are men like blah, blah, blah? You send us your questions, and we will try to talk through it, maybe usually argue just a little bit, but get to the bottom of some of our differences in the two sexes that exist. You can text us at 314-241-9797, 314-241-9797, or comment on the Annie Frey YouTube live chat that is up and running right now. X's and Y's next. Home Shield Foundation Repairs.com. The number is 314-271-9900. 314-271-9900. They have a great team at Home Shield Foundation Repair. Local people, Matt Hayes, the owner, local guy. It's a family-owned St. Louis business. You are shopping local when you go to Home Shield Foundation Repair and talk to them about the basement that you need waterproofing services for. How big is the project? You're not 100% sure. You know something's going to happen, but you're probably putting it off, trying to not pay attention to it so that you don't have to get the answers that are going to, of course, cost you money. How about 0% financing for 24 months? This gets you into a waterproofed basement in an affordable way with the experts at Home Shield Foundation Repair. If you have a basement that is experiencing water seepage, you need Home Shield Foundation Repair, and you need them right away. Get on their schedule at 314-271-9900, 314-271-9900, and tell them Annie sent you. HomeshieldFoundationRepairs.com.
The YouTube live chat poll today is, how will the GOP fare in midterm elections? There are a variety of answers, and we're asking you to pick one as to who will keep the Senate. Will the GOP? Will the Democrats? Will it be split? Let us know, and you can text in 314-241-9797. Oh, by the way, you can also ask X's and Y's questions. If you don't know what that is, you're about to hear it. It is a segment where we take your questions, and they are all related to the battle of the sexes, basically. What do you want to know about men and women and how we're different? Ask those questions, 314-241-9797, or on the live stream. It is 2:32. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
X's and Y's.
All right, this is one of my favorite things that we do all week. And I've said this last week, and I'll repeat it again. When we have these conversations, people come talk to me about them for the entire next week. Like, oh, you guys were talking about this, that, or whatever. So keep sending us your thoughts, your texts on this, and we'll try to feature your questions, X's and Y's, 314-241-9797, or on the Annie Frey YouTube live chat. You said you had one from the listeners?
One just came in, so I'll save that one for a minute later because I like this one a lot. Just came in. It says, why do men have one towel that they've owned since approximately 2007?
Yeah, when is the time to... First of all, how many uses will you get per bath towel?
Like how many years?
No, before you wash it.
Oh, before
it goes into the hamper.
Couple weeks probably. Why is that wrong? What's the appropriate answer to that? Because that's the truth. Probably go a couple weeks.
How about 3 days?
3 days? Man, that's way less than I thought.
I'm at least a week on mine.
Okay, good.
But the second I notice that somebody else has touched it, or if it touches the ground, it's in the laundry.
Okay, fair.
Does yours ever fall on the ground and you still use it?
Not like
That's a yes. That's a yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not like it's sitting there on the floor for a long time.
Will you share a towel? If your wife used your towel, would that bother you?
No, not at all.
Would it bother her?
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
It may not, but probably. But it doesn't bother me if anybody in my household has used the towel. I'll reuse it. I don't care.
Have you ever shared a toothbrush?
No, I won't do that.
Brad?
Absolutely will not do that.
I have.
No.
Really?
Better than nothing. Clean that sucker out. Like I put toothpaste on it and I scrubbed it and scrubbed it and scrubbed it and scrubbed it and then put toothpaste on it and used it.
Which is worse, reusing a toothbrush or a towel?
Toothbrush.
Yeah.
The toothbrush situation is in a case of a dire emergency.
What were you, in the Alps?
Yep.
Stranded on an Alp?
You forget to pack it, and if I was like overnight, if my husband and I went somewhere overnight and I forgot to pack my toothbrush, the first thing you do is you go to the hotel and be like, hey, can I have a free toothbrush, or do you have a toothbrush I can buy or whatever? In this instance, we couldn't. They didn't have one or something, so I think it was his. I don't know if it was a kid's. But I just scrubbed the heck out of it. And honestly, that toothbrush was probably cleaner than my toothbrush that I don't give a good scrubbing to. The thought of it is disgusting, but I couldn't not brush my teeth.
So the person who asked that question is named Helen.
Hi, Helen.
And they also did ask, at what point do you determine that it's time for a new towel? Because what her question is, you've owned one towel forever, not just that you're using it.
Not just the uses.
Yeah. That you've just kept using the same towel forever. I don't know.
I don't think
it's when it's falling apart, I guess.
If it's big enough to wrap around your body and it dries you off, I think it's a good towel.
Yeah. I know that I've had towels in the past, and I don't know if this was like an era, like a few years they made these and it was only at Walmart or something, but we had some towels that they had treated to be extra fluffy and soft, which is great. Nice fluffy towel is great. But they would repel water.
Yes.
They wouldn't really soak anything up, so they felt nice, but they didn't do anything.
You just kind of smeared the water around you.
Yeah, I'm so glad that somebody else has experienced this.
I hate new towels for that reason. It seems like it's all of them.
Okay.
You got to wash them first.
Well,
even
we
then.
did, and it just didn't matter. I don't know what these things were treated with, but we threw those away fast.
You threw them away?
Yeah, I'm
you
not
even
using
them
those.
for rags?
No way. Those were trashed because I hated them, and I wanted them to know that my hatred for them was deep and strong.
Brad, you got a question?
Yeah, when you go to, and not you specifically, but you in general, whenever you all go to a sporting event, are you generally excited about the prospect of being on a kiss cam? And who do you think gets more excited, a guy or a girl?
Ryan?
I think
Are there men who are getting excited
I
by
think
this?
that men just get thrilled about being on a kiss cam.
Favorite kiss cam situation is when it's like a brother and sister, and they're not just like, oh, we're not together. They're repulsed in front of the whole stadium. I'm like, that's funny. That makes me laugh.
Do girls want to be on a kiss cam?
Girls want to be on the Jumbotron because isn't there an element of like I would think it would be the same thing for dudes. Like there's something attractive about you that is going to be on the Jumbotron. There's something about you that drew the camera's eye to you and said, people should see this. Now, that could be good, that could be bad. But listen, I've taken teenage girls to the baseball game, and I've taken teenage boys to the baseball game. And they are working just as hard as the other one to get on the Jumbotron. It looks real different, but they are working hard to be seen on the Jumbotron.
Do you think if I went to a game and I texted Ethan to text his friends in the booth,
so you two could get on the kiss cam?
No, I'm not with Ethan.
This is
I
a
would
question
not do
about
that.
the kiss cam. What do you mean you're not
if
with
I
Ethan?
texted him and said, hey, contact a cameraman and tell them in section 217 between innings 3 and 4, there will be a gentleman twerking.
Ew.
Would that get me on?
Is it Ethan or is it you?
It would be me.
Well, then no.
Okay. That was from a listener.
Let's just talk crap on Ethan and just to see if he's listening to our show that he works on.
Right, yeah. That's a good question.
Can you see him out there?
No. Which means he's not listening because he would peek his head over if he was.
Going to make Mark Reardon some coffee.
Yes, he is. He's stacking it with Dolly Parton material is what he's doing. All right, next question from the text line is a lot of statement here and then a question at the end. Okay. It says women seem to answer in vague generalities to specific questions more than men. Like, how long are you going to be? Oh, not very long. Arg, this is my pet peeve. And then finally the question, true?
So the solution to this, to your lady, if you have one, is for her to do what I do to my children. My 5-year-old goes, Mom, how long until we leave? And I say 7. And she's like, okay. It's just arbitrary anyway.
Yeah.
What you're trying to do is entrap your woman, and she knows that, and she's smarter than that. You know that she's going to take longer than whatever quantity of time that she has given you. Putting her on a ticking clock is not going to make anything go faster for her.
Oh, I think you're misdiagnosing this.
Okay, go on. Correct me.
The reason that we ask is not because we're upset, although sometimes if it's taken a long time, we'll get a little bit perturbed
You
by
want to
that.
know how long you have to eat a snack?
Not necessarily.
Take
We
a nap.
just generally want to have
to
an
the bathroom.
idea of what to expect. And
Okay, so if someone says, I don't know, I'm not even close to being ready, or someone says in a generality, I'm almost ready, probably just a few more minutes, then you should know based on your wife's application of those time frames and ish of how long you have.
Yes.
Or 7.
You know what? There is another problem with this, and this is probably related to families in general, not just husbands and wives. But nobody will ever go get in the car until you do.
Until who does?
The parent or the driver. Like, nobody's ever...
I would almost add to that it's when the woman does. In my house, like, I think Jared could go sit in the car. People would be like, oh, Dad's out in the car. I think if I did, they're like, we better get in the car.
Oh, no. It takes somebody going to the car, usually the person who's going to be driving it, to
No.
go turn the car on.
Jared wouldn't be sitting out there by himself. Charlie would be out there with him.
But there'd still be people in the house.
The women.
Yes.
The girls in our house.
Yes.
Yeah, I think if we're getting ready to go to church in the morning and I go sit in the car, like little goslings right behind me, boop, 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 they get in the car.
Yep.
If Jared went out there, I don't know that would happen. Charlie would be his support. I mean,
it's different per
they
family.
They should just leave.
I think my point is, though,
Yeah.
the kids will never get in the car first. You're not like, oh, we got to
Do you
go.
want them to get in the car first?
I might if I'm like, oh, and I got to run back in and grab something. No, they just won't go. They just stop. They're not going to go ahead of you.
Got another question?
I haven't really screened this yet, so bear with me. But what hurts more, women having a baby or a man getting kicked in the crotch? A lot of women ask to have another baby, but I've never heard a man who has asked to get kicked in the crotch again.
Yeah, the payoffs for both are the same.
I'm changing
Must be
these words a
science.
little bit, by the way.
Totally a dude who sent that, and you're right. Kicking, I'd have 7 more babies before I'd get kicked in the crotch.
You
again.
sure that's a guy?
Do you notice, like, ladies out here understand what I'm saying, and to the men, I apologize for the fact that I'm about to offend you, but men are obsessed with proving to women how bad it hurts to get kicked in the crotch. We get it. We know you're obsessed.
It's not just that we're obsessed. It's
not
that
not
we
that you're
need you
obsessed.
guys to know that there is.
Yeah, we can tell.
There
You
is
won't
a pain.
stop whining about it.
There is a pain there.
I have never kicked any boys in the crotch.
I
I'm
don't think I
prepared
have
to.
either.
But yet here we are, and I'm always having to be like, yes, 10 centimeters means nothing. Nurture your balls. What am I supposed to say? I mean, you're heroes and masters of the universe. Hooray for you. Thank you. I'll just be over here creating humans. 10 centimeters. Thumbs up.
You heard what she said.
Yeah.
If you want to prove to a woman that
Mm-hmm.
you are a hero in the vein of He-Man, get kicked in the nuts. Because they will look at you differently and say, wow.
Do you notice a consistency of how frequently we do X's and Y's every week? And at some point, the men are like, but what about when we're kicked in the crotch? And I'm like, nobody says it doesn't hurt. And clearly it hurts real bad because we're big babies about it.
This guy actually did not say crotch.
Okay.
He said nads.
Oh, I know it hurts. It hurts when girls get kicked there. It's a different kind of pain. But I'm going to tell you what, that hurts for women as well. It hurts for women to get hit in the chest significantly. That's a very painful thing to experience. I don't know what it compares to. Pretty soon someone's going to follow up and be like, we don't get epidurals for when we get racked. Okay, I know. If somebody had some marketing sense, I think that they would manifest a pill or maybe a piece of candy that you could take that would help you alleviate the pain of the crotch kicking. And that's I don't know. Yes, it hurts. I don't. What do you need to hear me say in order to alleviate your concern that women don't appreciate that pain enough?
I need to hear, and this is on behalf of the men because I don't know. I need to hear for sure.
Can we psychoanalyze that for a second?
There is somebody out there working on a piece of candy that alleviates crotch pain.
Yeah.
And that it would be called the crotch bar.
Oh, ball busters.
Sure.
Yeah.
Either way. As long as it's got a lot of nougat. Because I enjoy nougat. It has nothing to do with the crotch part.
No. Okay.
There are more questions. They tend to be in that vein now that we've gone down.
I know. Everyone's like, she doesn't
road.
understand it all. No, I don't.
The problem is multiple people all weighing in on that topic, but also kind of putting their spin on it and asking different questions about it.
Because the second you start talking about this region, men can't stop. They can't help themselves.
True. There's 4 or 5.
314-241-9797. You can send those texts for Ryan's eyes only. I don't need them.
Yeah, I'd love to see them. And also, let me know what flavor the crotch bar would be.
You what?
If you designed that.
Just sent pictures.
No, flavor. What flavor would your crotch bar be?
He said he'd love to see them. We'll be right back. If you haven't heard the sad news today, Dolly Parton passed away at the age of 80. Sad to hear that, but what a life lived. She's impacted so many people. I think it's a pretty incredible life, and hopefully it seems that all of the things that people are reacting to in the knowledge that this has happened, it's just like, what a life. If when you pass away, it looks the way people are talking about Dolly Parton, that is a life well lived. We were doing a little X's and Y's here in the remainder of this hour. We do have the YouTube live chat poll results to give you in about 3 minutes from now. So if you want to hustle over to the YouTube live stream, you can vote today and tell us how will the GOP fare in midterm elections. Those results in just a few minutes. You said you had another X's and Y's that you had to get to.
Great question. Why is it okay for women to wear more revealing clothing than men? Men are frowned upon when they do this.
I don't know if this is. You think a man or a woman wrote this?
A man.
Right. Well, it's men's fault, so that's why.
I have a great answer for this.
Do you think women want to see men in revealing clothing?
That's the answer.
Yeah, we don't
Women
want it.
are more attractive than men.
In general.
Just overall. Like, there's not really a debate about
Brad
this.
disagrees. He thinks men are more attractive.
Okay, Brad.
Well, I might disagree with the premise that men aren't allowed to wear, revealing clothing.
This is getting even more interesting.
Men will go to a public place like a water park or a swimming pool, and they won't wear a shirt at all.
You wear shirts that
I wear
reveal
shirts
a lot.
all the time.
I don't understand how
but
we're
what I-
talking about people being out in public, and you're like, but at a water park.
But I mean, that is a public location. Like, there is not an acceptable public location for a woman to be completely.
That's because we have boobs.
Yeah, that's true.
But I mean, if we're just strictly talking about revealing the parts of your body.
Yeah, but
Okay.
but the boobs
Make a
are
difference.
a part that
Speaking
men
of
don't have.
Dolly
And
Parton,
so
rest her soul.
It's not.
She's up there
Speaking
with
of
those.
Dolly Parton.
Yeah.
Um,
Can't talk about boobs in this hour and not recognize that was a big part of her success.
So I think, Brad, I'm going to try to explain.
Yeah, Brad, what are you trying to get? What would make it more fair?
It kind of is more okay for men to show off the chest.
Right. That was the premise. Why is it
He thinks it's not
unacceptable? But it is
Because
acceptable
there's
for men to do
boobs.
it.
But it's not really like as sexual.
You would say
for a man.
apples to
Well, I
apples.
don't think so. But that might. Well, that's to Annie's point. It's because guys and girls.
I'm not following.
Girls.
Let's just compare waist down.
I'm out. I'm done. I have nothing left here.
Why is
What are we talking about? Hey,
Well,
Brad,
I'm not like
Brad,
I'm
what
not
are you
even
saying?
sure.
What are you advocating for here? What's the
There is
point?
no advocation. What I'm saying is that guys will actually wear less clothes than girls in public.
It's because you have different body parts.
But the question wasn't was it sexual in nature or were the body parts different? The question was why are women allowed to wear more revealing clothes? My point is they aren't.
I'll just read it again. Why is it okay for women to wear more revealing clothing than men? Men are frowned upon when they do this.
Who frowns upon the guy mowing his yard with no shirt on?
Not you.
No. Well, maybe.
Brad's like, give me a Diet Coke.
Like you
One
guys
with
are
some
assuming you guys are
condensation on
assuming
the
that
side,
you guys are
slow
assuming that
dripping
there's
down.
something sexual in nature in that question when there's not.
Is there something
Women
sexual
wearing
in
revealing
nature?
clothes? Is there's nothing sexual in nature by that?
It's just revealing more of your body. And guys can get away with revealing more of their body because women aren't sexual in nature. So the premise of the question is wrong.
I feel like I want to fight and win this argument, but I'm not sure how to do that. I don't know if I'm losing it either.
Yeah, because when I switched it to be, well, then let's just talk about waist down, I started picturing
What?
that I don't think either one of the sexes really do a lot of revealing of the waist down.
Sure they do. Women wear leggings all the time. They wear shorty shorts all the time.
Ooh, that's true. That's true. Guys don't really do that. We wear jean shorts
And they
sometimes.
shouldn't. Going
And
back
khaki
going back
shorts.
to the original premise because people don't want to see it.
People don't want to see it.
I don't want to see it. Do you want to see it?
No, not really. Not in the office. That implies that outside the office, I'm like, man, I like it when guys wear
Save
Biker
that for
pants.
prime time. How will the GOP fare in midterm elections? We asked you on the Annie Frey YouTube live chat poll today. How do you feel, Ryan? What's your guess here?
Keep Senate, lose House.
Keep Senate, lose House. Brad?
I'm going to keep Senate, actually gain in the Senate, and they're going to lose maybe the House by a little bit.
Okay, I think they're going to keep both majorities. I'm going that direction. 3% of you think lose the Senate, keep the House. I think that's a realistic thing. That's not going to happen. 3% says that. 17% say keep Senate, lose House. 35% think lose both majorities. 35% think we're going to lose them both. And 46% say retain both. So those two polar opposites there, the two winners for the day. The Mark Reardon Show coming up next.